fuga, vai! Então fuga, vai!
Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
Então fuga, vai! Então fuga, vai!
Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
everyone. We've got an exciting season of game changers. We're back here for stage 1. We're in the Swiss stage. It's the very first day, and I'm stuck here with this guy. What's up, man? Silly?
See, already Pinda hates me because I was already out of frame when we got on camera. I'm pretty sure she's gonna get on me for that one, but I'm having a good time. I think stage 1 is gonna be super fun. We already had like a good little taste of kickoff, similar to last year when a lot of teams went through roster changes. Some of them stayed the same, and then we tried to have a little bit of a gauge to see who was really going to be a strong contender to the Shopify Rebellion Gold in NA this time around. And at least for kickoff, we've seen some good stuff. We've seen FlyQuest Red winning it. We got Blue Water that got second place, now just recently got picked up by Sentinels, and then Wadadaa as third as usual. So now I'm expecting the same type of tournament and showings for these teams going into this stage number 1.
Yeah, this is already a huge gauntlet. We have 16 teams joining us for the Swiss stage. Only 8 will move on to the playoffs, but there's a lot of matches to go. And we're saying hello to a lot of returning names. Also, a lot of teams where this is their first time in Game Changers, which is so exciting. This is what this platform is all about, everybody. We're really highlighting a lot of the amazing talent from the marginalized genders community. And, well, say also a big welcome to Sentinels, who just picked up the Blue Water squad.
And it has a sick logo with it too, just the nice little Blue Water red logo on the top of the Sentinels. So it almost looks like a jacked up otter that has like a cyber armor and getting ready to go into the battlefield for the stage. But yeah, definitely cool to see Sentinels pop in. Big shout out to all of those that are still part of the GC scene, and also of course in EMEA and all the other regions. We're seeing a lot of GC teams signed up going into the stage, so super fun to witness. But going into today in the Swiss stages, I mean, you already see it across 16 teams. One of them that we're going to see today is Hyperspeed Golden, which is going to be a super fun one to pay attention to. But before we get into that, it's time to actually try to hack into the system as if we're playing Cyberpunk 2077 and then figure out and figure out how the Switch stage looks. So at least with the color coding, you see all the teams right here, Lemon Kiwi on the left side, as they're all playing today. And then of course that will get filled up as we move from day to day. The magic number is win 4, you make it through; lose 4, you're outies.
Yeah, I liked how our production kind of highlighted it of win 4 happy, lose 4 sad. Yeah. They really had to dumb it down for Vansily and I, guys, and Vansily just had to re-explain it to me. But don't worry about all these graphics. You're here at the very first day. I don't know. I'm just here. I just work here. Well, this is a mess. This is why they shouldn't have put us on here. But this is why
herself under the bus. We love that.
Well, we have a pretty... Don't worry, guys. You're going to only be stuck with us for so long, because here's our schedule for today. You guys know the drill. We've got 2 best of 3s to get through, and there's a lot of streams that are going to be going on at the same time. So if you want to cheer on FlyQuest or Puppy Thieves, Catface, Ghost Game, whoever you're into, the streams are located right down below those icons. You're, of course, here... hello everyone to Valorant_Americas, where Vansily spoiled it. We're going to be doing Wadadaa and Hyperspeed.
Exactly. A super fun one, and I just actually love the Twitch names for Radiant Beam, Radiant Glow. That's super cool. But also at the same time, you said you'll be stuck with us for not too long. Dude, they're stuck with us for the whole day. We're doing both BO3s today too, so it's going to be good or bad. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I think personally, no bias. I think it's going to be good.
I think this team's pretty good too. Let's kick off with the newcomers of Game Changers. Everyone welcome Hyperspeed Golden. And for a lot of these players, this is their, if not everybody, this is their first time in Game Changers. They were playing with Luna before, who was the only person with Game Changers Swiss experience from YDZ Black and Prosperity, but she's going to be coaching the team, so always steps in, you know, compared to the last match that they played. But there's a lot of talent here.
If I remember correctly, there is only Luna and Cross Unity that kind of play with each other in past iterations, if not like one of them. But I think overall, this whole squad comes in kind of like new and built together for this event, and it's super cool. You're exactly right here, Lemon Kiwi. All of them kind of like just failed throughout other iterations with other teams. out of the open qualifiers, only I think Cross Unity really made it to the close qualifiers. They were pretty close to make it to the main event, and who other than getting knocked out by Wadadaa in the close qualifiers to miss the Swiss stage? I think it was last year when they were playing with a different organization. So unfortunate there, but Cross Unity has a chance now to come back this time around and maybe get a revenge against Wadadaa, but this is definitely a tough feat. Like, I won't paint it with rainbow colors. It's going to be a difficult task right now for Hyperspeed today.
Yeah, and they're going up against the Beasts of Wadadaa, which, by the way, still unsigned, guys. Scouts out there, open your eyes. How is this team still unsigned? I mean, they're the 2025... the 2024 kickoff champions, not the most recent year, but they are still as competitive as ever. Very much considered a top 3 team in GC.
Well, you have to think about it too. They were also a top contender in 2025, yet they didn't make it to the GCC stage, but they made it all the way to the LCQ. They had to play against and try to defeat like the Shopify Rebellion Golds. I think they even played against MIBR there, who ended up getting like a top 3, if I'm not mistaken, too, at the GCC, if not Team Liquid that won the whole event. So it was definitely a tough ask for this team that has been sticking around for the longest time, as I'd like to say the main 4 core: Australis, Juna, PowerPixel, and Starbound, and most recently adding Bunny B to the circuit this year to replace Sleepy Aria, who had other commitments to do now and stepping a little bit away from competitive play. But Bunny B, definitely a great addition to the squad. I think speaking about this player, maybe in kickoff it was a little bit rough. One, I think you're trying to adapt to the system at the same time, Lemmy Kiwi, but also I don't think she was necessarily like a Euro player for me. So it's nice to see now with the agent changes, with Euro being nerfed, she might go back to the tried and true of the Rays where she excels at. And that would probably add a lot of depth into what's prepared for Wadadaa this time around going to this matchup against Hyper.
Yeah, and well, don't worry about Yoru because he was taken out back and killed. So now we have a lot more Neon. We have a lot more Dai. We even have a new agent. So, and this is why I love watching GC, everybody, and why you should too. There is always innovation with the comps. There's so many role swaps. It's chaotic. It's fun. We have chamber players on both sides, from Starbound versus Pangolin. I kind of like that unique look when they can have someone strong like that on defense. Here's our map set, by the way. Hyper Spirit chose to go to Fracture, which that's back into the map lineup. Wadadaa wants to go to Bind, and we'll decide it all on Lotus if we get there.
Yeah, and you're trying to look at this map rotation, and I was like actually looking at the map vetoes and saying, okay, are there going to be any maps that's going to be difficult here for Starbound to really play to their full potential as this one-trick chamber? And so far with Fracture coming back, you would think that sometimes it would be the case, but it's also very doable still when you have somebody like Starbound that could just lock down 2 quadrants of the map of Fracture on attack, but also taking very aggressive line on defenses too. What I've been noticing though with the first iterations of Fracture coming back is that everybody kind of still played into like the default comp of trying to get the breach into the lineup. The thing is right now is that it's a little bit difficult to really get true value around the breach, especially when it comes down to like very fast-paced matches and you are down to like the 60-second cooldown on all the initiators, so that fault line isn't going to be as effective anymore.
And that's a good point, because Lover Girl loves playing the breach, and on maps that you wouldn't expect it as much, right? And hey, and Lover Girl is someone who doesn't have a ton of experience. I think when I was checking out their VLR, it was like one Radiant Academy. So it's like, I love all these kind of unknown names because we get to be part of the first chapter of their story, of their potentially blossoming career. And to get all the way to the Swiss stage of GC against a lot of other good teams, like this is already a huge endeavor to overcome. Only 8 teams though are going to go to playoffs, and we'll see how they fare against Wadadaa on Fracture.
And funny enough, as we're talking about the breaches, I was going to mention too, oh, it looks like Luna is actually playing this time around as well. So is there no cross unity into the roster? So that's a little bit of a change. We just talked about these 2 players potentially have played in past iterations, but now it's cross unity that's going to be stepping out. The reason why I'm saying it's interesting is because also cross unity used to be a big breach player back in their YDZ days. Now it's given to Always, and Lovergirl is playing Smokes. But nothing really changes for RuneQuest. RuneQuest, sorry. They're the star duelist for the team. They're going to be using it a lot, getting a lot of experience through the Funhaver events, but having their first showing here going into this Game Changer Stage 1 and having to play against what we would expect here. Very standard, very normalized on the side of the attack for Wadadaa. And this is probably best in slot potentially for all of these players, and also still a very good composition to utilize here as they're stepping away here, Wadadaa, from this breach.
Yeah, I already like the difference of duelist. I mean, Bunny B has Neon in the back pocket, but now you get to kind of more slowly scale up, use the boombot, get more information, while Neon just kind of goes in blasted, which I don't mind it in the right hands, as long as you have hands. That's what's important, right?
Yeah.
But Wadadaa, I mean, they got to throw hands because they're on attack first. So expecting, I love also the resurgence of Tejo as another kind of informational tool for the team.
Exactly. And that's basically looking at this composition, a lot of the toolkit that is available from even when Fnatic came out with this Raze Fade in the comp. Having Tejo on top of that too is going to be very good because it allows now Bunny B to even satchel up under the pressure of the salvos into the B side and whatnot. So there is going to be a lot of good ways for them to find information quite early within the rounds, being explosive whenever they can, being slow on the defaults if you want to as well. But as we kick off the pistol round, you can definitely see here in this best of 3, we're looking to heavy aggress for Team Hyper over on this north side hit on the arcade, while again, just as we've noted, Wadadaa is going to have Starbound playing solo to overlook 2 quadrants for themselves.
It's going to be a fun map to see how Starbound can shine, which Chamber is always have an easier time stepping up and getting out on defense. Pangolin stepping up though, and even despite the flash, it was nice, but a 1v3, that's still too much on your plate. Now Starbound gets another, and Wadadaa will set themselves up for A.
We're going to even set up here for cutting the angles, just have players run against them. Just very easy for them to do, even going with a little bit of a tap kill towards the end with the classic, but that was just an easy open for Wadadaa. You had Power Pixelate on that north side, going with the Prowler, getting a lot of information of how many players are pushing against them, and then they call the pivot. Wall contact towards Satellite. The dish flash doesn't get too much pressure there from Pangolin, playing too far forward in their setup. And yeah, that's an easy round coming in for Wadadaa. You can even see here, Luna is just trying to give their life away just to make sure that they have credits to work with within the next round. But a huge flawless to start for Wadadaa, where they didn't even really need to play for trades.
Yeah, and this is the hyperspeed choice of maps, so they're gonna have to face Wadadaa, who are kind of a very hyped up team right now, and there's a lot of eyes on them, as I feel like they've already proven themselves. They've won a kickoff, they got 3rd at the most recent kickoff as well, and they've always been considered that top team. But what more can we see out of the identity of Wadadaa now that you have these new maps coming in? We're still relying on the Chamber, which, hey, Starbound's getting 3Ks with the Chamber, and now we're letting loose here for Ruin Crest. This is one way to get information, but will now be forced to kneel as Wadadaa will be watching the north side and keeping a distance. I like that decision from Wadadaa. Let the rifles do all the talking.
Too easy. I think at that point, you're having a very similar open from PowerPix LA. It was dangerous because they had the spike on their back, but again, it was just Prowler, get info. You realize that you're getting pushed down. There's even a drone coming in from Australis all the way from Dish. So that not only spots how many players, even if it doesn't suppress them from the crab walk, it's still information. So a lot of the players were ready. Double Guardian, Outlaw, whatever it was, just dispatched every single player that was trying to push forward here from Hyperspeed Golden. And he gave the round here for Wadadaa to plant towards his B site. There's no stall. Luna, I think it's a smart bet for her to save her 2 salvos here, just to make sure that you know, you're not going to expend the extra credits to purchase that salvo for the next round. Data Spike is the name of the game going to this post plant. I'd like to see now maybe Power Pixel 8 start going for the chase, maybe even Starbound. Losing the Outlaw though would be kind of dangerous, but they're still trying to hunt these down, and you're seeing both of them move here on that map.
And Wadadaa only have 1 death.
Enemy remaining.
And when it rains, it pours. Now we're hunting for old orbs, and this is the level of domination, just at least out the gates, that we expected from Wadadaa, because it's always those first matches of any tournament where a top team can look shaky. Maybe they're not fully clocked in on some of their opponents. They're so focused on you know, they're big rivals and all that, but I like that Wadadaa, they put a significant amount of work between kickoff, between now, realizing, okay, we didn't win kickoff. There's serious competition. There's orgs coming in. There's orgs signing teams, and we have to be the next up. And I like that Wadadaa are just going in with so much confidence and also only one death.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, as you keep showing this hand from Wadadaa over on the arcade side. We've actually changed scope. Hold on, we'll hold that top. Pangolin actually dropped the spike carrier. This is a bonus round for Wadadaa, but they still get the immediate trade, and they're going for a plant. It seems as though it should be easy, although Luna is finally coming in to delay as much as she can.
Hey, this is the type of shakeup we wanted to see. First rifle buy is not over. What a shot from Starbound. Ruined. Was trying to slide them DMs and just got floored. Wadadaa, though, having a bit of fun. 3 versus 3, and now you keep your distance. You stick to your guns. And this was the first time Hypersphere started to really shake things up in a round. And once you have a more even playing field, this is still going to be a good game.
Well, looks like Fred's been practicing for the lineups too for the Brimstone. Even if it's a 1 versus 1, you'll get the delay. Actually, it missed. It missed.
You got backups?
By 2 salvos, you're still Gucci. So a little bit of a saving grace towards the end. Don't know if it's necessarily a bad plant or not, but the lineup was a little bit off to the right. Nonetheless, still around. Bonus round 1 by Wadadaa. But what I was trying to say here is that Wadadaa so far in the last 3 rounds have been opening over on arcade. If it's not for Prowler, if it's not for something, they're just continuing to show their hand. I mean, look at the setup right now. Once again, still showing Power Pixelay on that side because they don't want to mix things up too much if it's just easy for them to get these rounds. So to see Hyper Speed just fully change their setup to try to fight for a main control instead was kind of a little bit off kilter for me. You still have to make sure that you're trying to deny as much as you can on that side to make sure you have arcade under heavy pressure and lock down to force Wadadaa to a different spot.
You got a ping on Power Pixelay, and it's the type of team that can do that 1-4 setup. The same situation. Starbound left on an island. Here's the crunch. Wadadaa now constructing past smoke. While Hyper Speed, well, they gotta slow things down one way or the other. And now Lovergirl stays in the safety of the smoke with the spike dropped. Wadadaa are facing quite some trouble. This is an uphill battle. You get a plant down, but Hyperspeed are right around the corner. But the peel from Wadadaa is solid enough. Juna will hold her own and keep the spike in hand. Only 1 left from Hyperspeed, and you can still try to prevent the plant here. Now always just playing with their food.
Yeah. At least now guarantees the position of the last player, making it easy for Starbound to pick up that last kill. Could have been dangerous, though, because that choice of position of plant for Juna was quite dangerous because you're really exposed and open from Canteen. Usually you want to tuck in a little bit more towards that green box so you have the safe plant and also the opener for the players that are playing more towards tree side to have an easier look when the spike's being tapped. That said, as you flooded back here for Hyperspeed, at least the crossfire setups were there for Wadadaa, and they were just able to trade off each other quite well. So that is going to be an abundance of money that's currently flowing for the side of Wadadaa. You have a dual defense that's being pulled out from Starbound as well from getting that last kill and getting this available now. So yeah, this is very difficult for Hyperspeed, and I like this. At least you have to be a little bit more proactive somewhere. Maybe the fighting toe-to-toe is not really working out, so you're isolating at least one quadrant to make sure. Maybe that's a change of plan that they're trying to approach. And looking at it, though, from Pangolin, another attempt to just flash swing, but they're going to try to flash against 4 people.
It's going to be pretty chaotic, though, once you get all the smokes down, and now it's just timings off the swings. I mean, that's how I think Hyperspeed works. Swinging for a loop. Showstopper right to the dome. Goodbye, Pangolin, but a better trade now out of all ways. You got to keep Wadadaa humble. They've been undefeated thus far. Armageddon's definitely going to throw a wrench into things. Wadadaa got to step away. They'll Prowler back in, and now Crest and always find their moments to show face. And they're always left in these 3v3s, these 2v2s. Hyperspeed keep it as close as they can. But Wadadaa know how to close out Ruin Crest at 66 HP, only minor injuries on the
30
Wadadaa
seconds
side,
left.
and they're just going to abandon ship. They have time to do so.
Still a nice reaction from PowerPixel as they were planting 2 and getting overwhelmed by the Armageddon. They decide to throw back the Nightfall back onto the defensive line to give a chance for Juna to get a surprise attack. She didn't get it, but got good value at least to keep them at bay towards that spawn. Still gives a chance for Wadadaa to rotate back towards this A site for a plant. Ruin Quest has 0 util left, so it's going to have to come down to her to aim. Play the mind games of tapping that spike, force into double swings. Thankfully, also, Astralis doesn't have any rockets to work with either, so if they're not coordinated here, doesn't matter. Starbound's still alive. It's a 1v1-1 on their side.
Starbound's just the GOAT. Like, what are they, like 8-1 now? And they got like a 3K off the pistol. Yeah, of course they're 8-1. Oh my god, just ruining lives over there. Timeout. We got to put out some fires, okay? And we got to keep just hyping up Wadadaa. This is such an exciting team to watch, and I'm really glad they stuck together because in the GC scene and just any esports in general, as soon as you kind of lose that top position, then you start to wonder, oh my god, do we have to change roster? Do we have to start trialing new players? But Wadadaa is their friendships that have lasted for so long, and they really want a gun for that #1 spot. I think the talent is there that they could definitely rival a team like SRG and others down the road.
And Wadadaa is always going to come into this type of event with a chip on their shoulder of not being assigned team when they're at the top for the longest time here in North America. So they're going to play with a lot of aggression, a lot of confidence, and you're going to see a lot of body shooting or something like that at the same time too, just to show that they have character and they're always going to keep fighting for their spot. It's nice to see again that all of them try to stick together as much as they could. If Sleeper Aria maybe didn't have any other outside engagements, you probably still see them playing with Wadadaa right now. But outside of that fact, let's focus on the present and what's currently happening right now with Bunny Bee. She is doing an excellent job right now creating space for Wadadaa on their executions. And if you're looking at the pattern that she's choosing, it's not the standard salvos to get heaven control or whatnot, because they know that the Vice is not really going to try to play through utility around that side. So they're just trying to push right into the spawn, convert towards that side first, and then flood back into that B site if there's still players hanging out on that side. There should be good ways to stall this right now for Hyperspeed, but it hasn't shown yet, which is why they need it this time out.
And when Wadadaa have better buys, they know how to keep their distance and just kind of play the ranged advantage that they have. Hyperspeed did have Ruin Crest by a judge, and if we keep having these skirmishes amongst a very small space, as that Nightfall does suppress the defense a little bit, but it gives confidence for Wadadaa to go in. Astralis just gets 2, playing off the one-way beautifully. Crest will at least confirm the 1. I don't know how much they were able to pick up the weapon. There's just too much going on. Tried to get that upgrade, but just gets overwhelmed. So I'd like to judge by if we were going to get into a more enclosed space, but Wadadaa kind of changed things up.
I don't know if one of the smokes missed there on the defensive side, because if I'm looking from the POV from Hyperspeed and then I see a smoke that doesn't have the red hue around there, I'm assuming here that it's a defensive smoke. It went on the top of the boxes that kind of created a one-way for the Wadadaa team. As you saw Hyperspeed trying to flit out from spawn, legs were spotted, easily shot down, and then Wadadaa just didn't allow for Hyperspeed to flood retake with this composition who's basically built to be very good for flood retakes. Just have to make sure that you're not losing too many players in the process before, especially from the anchors. If you're playing for ones and you realize you're at a point where you have to give it up, I mean, just give it up, play the full retake, take control of pushing over the other extremity where there could be less players. Rich is right now kind of working out. Look at him playing on the top of drop, back towards that spot.
The orbital right on the site in case there were any rats hiding around. Wadadaa, when they want space, they claim it like it's their name on it. And you gotta be careful through the fade with the spine trying to extend out. Well, I guess when there's an op, like especially in the hands of Starbound watching over you, it's all good. But still a 3 versus 3. Hyperspeed have not allowed the entry of Wadadaa, who now commit a second ultimate within the A site. And still, you're trading. Hyperspeed are making it as difficult as possible. Oh my god. What a headshot from Astralis. Luna has an angle, depending on how they stagger. Trying to create that high-low. Astralis don't even need a secondary. They are so clean.
Hold on, Astralis is kind of back. She's hitting some crazy shots so far. Currently 10-1. Died only once so far on the attack side. It's kind of crazy. I mean, also as a Tejo, you're a little bit more passive. You're trying to defend that spike when it's being planted, but when you need her to step up, man, she's actually landing some very, very clean shots. This is a really night and day from what I've watched from the kickoff. I think there was like a short stint, even pre-kickoff, maybe the end of 2025, where Astralis really was showing some great skill, but then it kind of fell off a bit during kickoff. But dude, now she's kind of clean with it. She's back.
Very clean. Ooh, just have to dodge some obstacles there. Poor little Spidey. Wadadaa not getting much information. Same situation though. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're 7-0. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Little hopscotch against the missiles, the salvos. This whole Ruin Crest has been wanting to get value out of these shotguns on these lower buys, but you gotta do what you can with what you got. And Wadadaa, they got it all in their favor. 4 versus 1. Now only Luna remaining, which, hey, Lover Girl, the double kill with the Stinger. That's pretty nice. That's gonna make things easier for Luna, but that's just still
with a
quite a hoop to jump through.
Yeah, exactly. You got a Stinger, 20 bullets in your clip. You're trying to just hold mouse 1. They run into you, but there's like 4 players still running up the ropes to trade off. So it didn't pan out. I mean, it panned out as intended because you're just trying to take your 1 and 2. I love the attempt of trying to dance around both salvos to try to utilize the shotgun, but it's nice that it's still identified by Wadadaa that it isn't always going to be a clear and clean take when you're double salvoing into the hallway. A little bit of a simple physical drop here. And if you're living under the rock pad or you're still trying to learn a little bit what the simple drop is, there was a game back then in Counter-Strike and CSGO where he actually dropped his pistol to swing out into a window of top B and dust 2 and just ops the guy, and that became the simple smoke. That said, we're going to move into round number 9.
See, I thought it was like a white flag. To be honest, because I'm not very cultured. I thought it was like, here, I don't have weapons. My hands are out. Please don't shoot. Like,
well,
that's what I thought that was.
Let me educate you for a second. So kind of like in like a KO underhand flash, you have of course flashes in CS, right? So if you underhand throw it, some people would turn away from it. So then you throw the pistol in the same way to make people kind of turn away from the flash. But that said, nobody's going to turn away from that one. RuinQuest just swats Bunny Beef out from thin air. And that's an early advantage that was much needed so far for Hyperspeed. Because they've been behind this whole game so far.
RuinQuest, I could tell, has been caffeinated before this match. And they're on the perfect agent to just be letting loose. And also, to First Blood, the Bunny Bee, like, I've been thinking RuinQuest is going to pop off as soon as they get the right weapon. And how about the right ultimate thrown in the faces of Wadadaa? Pretty solid advantage now for Hyperspeed. Wadadaa still just have to collect the spike, and wondering if you just pivot at this point. This is kind of hitting like a brick wall.
Yeah. Again, it's a great stall to, in the first place because dropping Bunny Bee is all that space making that was intended for her to take. So you kind of have to slow things down and play the contact now and right into the mouse 1 of the Odin. Almost even gets a triple kill for Luna. But like I said, about 8 HP left. I mean, at this point, you're probably still going to try to go for it. Like I said, money is still very, very good for Wadadaa. And even if you lose a round, but you drop a lot of players in the process, that would be Hyperspeed with a very low buy going to the next round, probably forcing half shields.
Always scoping out A, so they should be confirming B, but is it too late? All-Star did get the surprise factor, but yeah, the issue was that if anyone shot back, the 8 HP goes by pretty quick. But hey, we get the first round on the board for Hyperspeed, and I think a lot of that got sparked up by RuinQuest, and I think really playing confidently, and you need to do that on an agent like Neon, and just really trying to find some surprise timings against Wadadaa, because you do not want to let that team find a flow.
Yeah, and at that point for RuinQuest to just adapt to how Bunny Bee has been scaling on that map, foster placement, just drop him. You know that it's been very similar on how Wadadaa executing, but let's hold that thought. There's a huge push down towards tree for a fight.
Oh, you're only gonna get one chance at that, and Bunny Bee makes you pay the price. Oh my god. I think 2 for 2 on both showstoppers we've seen thus far. Wadadaa will get some plan, and I think they're done messing around. This is not a comedy show, folks. Like, Wadadaa gave you a round, and that's all they're feeling like being charitable for.
They have no choice but to fall back and save. I think if Lover Girl is going to try to go for this, they're using making the wrong decision here. Just look at the money for the rest of the team. They need this rifle in the next round. But going for it. They want to fight it for pure aggression. Maybe the stats.
Yeah. This is Aura kill. That you were trying to get anyway. But hey, trying to make it as costly as possible. I was surprised that Ruined Crest even bought an op, because when you're, I guess the lost streak bonus is getting pretty nice. You're just trying to go for anything that's different. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean there was good util from Hyperspeed. I think they were seeing what was available, how you're gonna try to just change things up a little bit here, because most of the times you've been wall contacting or trying to play off info from Pangolin and flashing and swinging, and they never really tried to go for it. Let's try to punish Starbound on the south side. They're gonna try it on the north side at least this time.
Lots of concussed right into the whole squad of Wadadaa. Ruin, Krez, just trying to stay as measured as they can. Poor Wadadaa, we're sick and tired. And they just swung as a team, and we're left with the remnants of Wadadaa on a save round for Hyperspeed. Oh, Astralis! This is my spawn. This is my turf. And Wadadaa lead in double digits.
I'm telling you, Astralis right now is looking very clean. It's not just on simple, let me move forward, crosshair placement, and get a pick. To be aware of what was happening in that scenario. So they were getting crunched. She has to protect the front side first. Then Lovergirl did as much as they could. Long range ghost, nice double kill. But for Astralis to be able to fall back, reload, seeing that the Armageddon's probably available too at that same point, let me just swing out, and then the flick from one to the other, even if it's against Nico, you need that. I mean, that was probably high percentage play for the type of for the side of Hyperspeed to probably be able to win that round. But she saves the round. Right now, 10-1. Going for a full second to the inside.
Last round of the half. Wadadaa, this has been the most difficult site to try and get into. As Bunny Bee got to runs out of bullets. Really almost started to bring the fist down and just start having a brawl. And now Luna's dancing around, very flustered, very difficult spot for Hyperspeed. Maybe no, always would have been the last saving grace to at least get some trades before the exit. Now there's a lot. There's a lot on Pangolin's plate here for the last round, and not able to even get the ult if we wanted to go for a Hail Mary. But 11-1, this is going to be a quick match.
Big round too for Juna as that Brimstone, because you saw that she attempted to push over at spawn, I think in round number 4 or 5, and this time she does it in round number 12. So maybe the game plan too for Wadadaa, as they're creating a lot of ruckus towards these side exits, to have, you know, Juna try to find her own timings inside the spawn side, and now she finds great results out of that. And as they start off with a flawless as an opener, they even close the half with a flawless themselves. Now, this is not necessarily supposed to be the harder side for Wadadaa with its composition either. So Hyperspeed, they have to make sure that they are able to trade off against how Wadadaa is going to play on this defensive line. I think most cases I would try to identify where Starbound would be, even if they're able to get a pick and TP out. If you can get an instant trade, that'll be a great start for you to work the quadrants around the map.
Yeah, I see this Neon and Breach from the side of Hyperspeed as they go in and blow up the site. Maybe this is going to be their better side. Make this look as close as possible. Starbound with a sharp eye. Not sharp enough shot. Maybe needs a small band-aid. But 91 HP is a plenty. Just spotting the one, and especially that being the Neon, does give you a tell that they could have been pivoting towards A's side. Now they're watching toward the swap up.
We're getting ready for an eye for Power Pits late too. Immediately spam through smoke if they can.
Here's the spam. Hyperspeed just really suppressing to try and protect Lovergirl. You know exactly where Wadadaa is going to be emerging from. You want to keep control of this chaos. So Hyperspeed now have the clock on their side. Wadadaa, though, they got Salvos, they got Prowler, they got Bunny Bee, who's making entry. Nades to destabilize the high ground. Not expecting one around the box, and always will confirm. And Hyperspeed missing in action, though, despite the trees. The teamwork from Wadadaa is simply too strong. And Runecrest is having a pretty good game, but Wadadaa, they're just a really good team.
Yeah, I was quite impressed by Hyperspeed's macro until we got into the pulse plan, to be honest with you, because the game plan to try to sell this fake or find info towards tree side, they see no aggression, they walk contact to try to find where Starbound is, they find them at dish, so they force the fight. Starbound TPs, but they're not trying to move forward on that space because you would think, okay, well, if you have to give it that space for Wadadaa, you need some teammates to move forward to try to close that gap. So they would expect maybe an over rotate from Wadadaa from B to A, exactly. But as they go for this B side plant and they've already inserted Pangolin at that lower right side quadrant at the A side halls, they should have just stayed hidden the whole time and not try to push forward so they could actually keep their wall activated and try to push anybody and kill and punish anybody on the rotates. Them dying was unfortunately the result.
Sometimes you gotta slow it down. The Strawless, just the bodyguard, the cutoff. We're okay. We're satchelating with shotguns. Oh my god, Buddy B's having a little too much fun, but Hyperspeed will hold on to spawn. And now this hallway is looking pretty tumultuous. It's looking like there's plenty of util here, and Hyperspeed are gonna have to find a different way. And Juno's gonna be able to call this out when she sees it.
Sees it. I mean, tries to do damage. You did whatever you could. Even if it's offside, I could respect it. I mean, you're winning 12-1. Mistakes could happen, but if anything, she stalled long enough, and now they're just pincered. There's really no way for Hyperspeed to really book it into this B site, especially now that these gaps are being plugged through. You're seeing right now Salvo's activated by Australis, trying to see if she needs it to try to go towards this B site. And remaining. Power has to read.
That was almost a stacked kill, Luna. Got a bit of plot armor on her side on that one. A Guardian Angel, if you will. But the Slurk from Starbound was already watching the A site, is pushing through the spawn. And Luna maybe wants to take advantage of Wadadaa going on their little adventures. We'll catch Starbound off guard, and we're left with a 1 versus 1. But 15 seconds, Strawless knows the job. Salvo the site, prevent the plant, win the round, perhaps maybe even without needing the kill, but plant still goes through. Luna adjusts well, but 6 HP. Now it's the jump scare game, and that means Wadadaa will take the map 13-1.
Again, how stoic is Australis on that 1v1 towards the end too? A nice little victory for Wadadaa to kick off their stage 1, Swiss stage rather, in the stage number 1. So very nice. It was dominant. I think when it comes down to, again, the setups here for the attack setup of Wadadaa, it was fairly simple. A lot of 4-1s, find the info, work the weak site, and then you just had to shoot your gun better. And that was all of Wadadaa this whole game.
Yeah, this is a very rude welcoming to Hyperspeed, where for a lot of them, it's their first time in the Swiss stage, and now they're getting the taste of the real competition, and that was Hyperspeed's map pick, but we'll see if they'll have an answer. Coming up next, we have a Wadada's map pick of Bind, and you won't want to miss it.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone, to Game Changers presented by Verizon. We're going into Game 2 between Wadadaa and Hyperspeed, their first time in GC Swiss, and that was a rude awakening at 13-1 on Fracture.
Yeah, definitely. But again, nice try on what they were trying to do. They were trying different looks every single round just to try to adapt here for Hyperspeed to play against Wadadaa. But it was just the simple Prowler double initiator play from Wadadaa was just really easy for them to work around that map. I think if you've looked at the whole defensive side though from Hyperspeed, I think we've tried to fight aggro on south side A main maybe once, maybe like that. Outside of that though, it was just like Wadadaa was just always ready. I think we weren't pressuring Starbound enough or challenging a weak side. We were trying to take over one part of the map for Hyperspeed. But again, look at this MVP screen. Australis at 21-3. This one 13-1, and she died 3 times. That's how insane she's been throughout this whole first map. Not only for util to help the team, but also to bail out the team because there were 2 occasions where she had to go and clutch it out for the team. So yeah, definitely, I'm gonna keep underlining this so far in terms of Australis's performances, because when you have somebody like Australis, like Juna, that's going to be starting to warm up and already show some heavy firepower, that's so much to add up already onto what PowerPixel 8 and Starbound already brings to the plate. So they just look like the unstoppable team because of that.
Yeah, I mean, that Australis 4K, that's got to go in a montage somewhere. Yep. And, I mean, this has been the most stacked team that Australis has been on, so I'm totally here for Australis 2026, the rise to the top, and at least to go back to the top, because this team was a team that was capable of winning a kickoff.
Yep.
So I think they could definitely go back to contesting that crown, and I know it's still being held by SRG. FlyQuest were the ones that won this year's kickoff, and we're in stage 1, and this is still very early. This is literally day 1 of the Swiss stage, but I just love how clean Wadadaa are coming out. It doesn't get it gets a little bit cleaner than 13-1 if you want to throw out a 13-0, but it really was awesome, especially someone like Starbound on the chamber. Like, I didn't feel like they were disrespecting the team and kind of like doing some crazy stuff. Like, they were always very measured with their lurks, and on a map like Fracture, that's so important.
What I'm intrigued now is to look at the upcoming map for Bind. This is Wadadaa's map pick, but what surprises me is that they actually went for this map. And the reason why I'm saying I'm surprised is because this team is actually damn good on Bind, right? But they've always played like this Yoru double senti, so a chamber, a deadlock, and a Yoru. Yoru's been nerfed out, and I think if you want to have probably an opportunity to save this and put it in your back pocket and try to save it against a tougher opponent, and I apologize to Hyperspeed if I'm putting it that way, but let's be frank here, right? So there's Wadadaa is already going to be very good on this map, so you can always save this map against a tougher opponent where you're trying to really get deep into the playoffs or whatnot. So you could save that.
Yeah.
But now you might give a tell of what your new composition is going to be. You're going to start putting some tapes on into what Bind's going to look like for you as well, for King Fred as the head coach and the rest of the squad. So it might not pay out for them in the long run is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, and Hyperspeed have kind of their own unique approach to this. Just the fact that we're going to continue to see the Pangolin versus Starbound chamber thing to go back and forth potentially. This is definitely a map that Pangolin has played a chamber on before. This team opts for the double initiator with the Fade and the Sky, and instead replacing that second controller where a lot of teams run the Brim and the Viper. So foregoing the Viper does maybe weaken your lurk opportunities. Maybe you can't fake as usually with that, so that Viper is still not on the Hyperspeed side. They're not adjusting from that. But Runecrest gets to continue their run on the Neon, and we just saw kind of, if there was going to be hope in a round, I felt like it was created by them.
Yeah, if anything right now, it bodes well playing against Wadadaa, because again, think about the past. When you're playing Australis on a deadlock who's now playing Sky, you don't have like the timing of let me throw the wall down so that I could actually have the Sixth Sense and block that speed that Runecrest will try to do in terms of getting space. Wadadaa comes out with a more standardized composition from past years, with the exception now of, for example, a chamber instead of a Fade, of playing like double initiator in that spot, because why pull that away from Starbound, right? So they're going to be able to do kind of like their own thing, and you could still have maybe like this 3-1-1 setup on a lot of these defaults from Wadadaa on the attack side, so that Juna, Juna, Astralis, and Bunnybee could really start rotating the map across, so that the lurks of PowerPixel and Starbound could go to work. So again, I think it's nice to see Bunnybee still back on this race. I think this is what I wanted to see already from this roster. That's going to immediately level up this team, to see that they're actually utilizing Bunnybee to the best of her capabilities by playing this this race instead of like a Neon or a Waylay.
Bunnybee got a ton of value with the showstoppers. I did appreciate the guts at a hyperspeed to be like, let's throw our op at the big bomb and see what happens. Like nuclear bomb versus coughing baby moment. And it kind of made for an exciting exchange. It's just if you miss that one shot, the showstopper is a bit harder to miss.
Yeah.
But hey, hyperspeed are very practiced on this map. They only played it, I think, less than 2 weeks ago. But it was part of that one of the map losses that they had against Alliance Angels in that closed qualifier. And hey, that was already quite the journey that hyperspeed had to get through to get to this point. And they still qualified at the end against Alliance Angels to get here. So excited to see what they've changed since then.
For sure. I think even though it was a 13-1 result that didn't go into your favor for hyperspeed, to be able to make it to the Swiss stage already is a great accomplishment and a great feat in itself, because you have to think about the amount of teams you have to play against in the open qualifiers, the amount of waves in the open qualifiers to fight through the gauntlet of the closed qualifiers. Remember the last time somebody well, unfortunately not playing in this game today, it's Luna replacing instead, but you still had to face against the Wadadaa team where you already had first-hand experience of how good this team is, and now you have to try to beat them going into the Swiss stage. The other silver lining is that it is a Swiss stage. So going 0-1, if you were to have similar results as the first map here for hyperspeed, it's still knowing, okay, the level of caliber now from even OQs to close qualifiers to now has increased dramatically, and it allows for you to be ready a little bit more, hopefully here into the next weeks of Swiss stages to try to make through the playoffs.
And that's a gorgeous map, but we were looking at it for that long because a player disconnected, so hopefully they're back in. And hey, this is also, like you mentioned, a different sort of roster from hyperspeed, at least compared to what they last played, which is always a variable. And honestly, if I had to go up against a top 3 team, I'd rather it be early in my schedule where we're still figuring things out anyway. So this is the time to experiment, in my opinion. And then hopefully this is like that sort of wake-up call where when you face the teams that you should beat, you do so cleanly. So get kind of the tough losses out of the way, because you want to build momentum from here on out.
Definitely. And also to add to Wadadaa, it's not just the work of King Fred this time around too, but you have Lakim as the assistant coach now, and that recently joined to help out King Fred, who's been busy with school lately as well too, trying to juggle a lot of stuff to put Wadadaa back on the map here for this year. But thank you for your patience, chat. We're now in the game with Wadadaa on the attack side, and hyperspeed are looking for the info. The eye comes out towards the fountain. They're trying to punish Starbound, and they actually did.
Okay, and the headshot connects too. That's a lot of damage, and finally some punishing power into Starbound, but Bunnybee isn't gonna let you run free the way that Wadadaa kicked down the door, planted B, and wrapped around on the defense before they could even get back to their neutral positions. This is kind of awkward for hyperspeed to try and rotate back into. Wadadaa just gonna heal themselves back up. You know, that fade was in hookah from the C's that was just thrown. Multiple angles now being pushed from hyperspeed, including Anglin towards the defensive spawn. A lot for Wadadaa to watch. Astralis wins their one. Pangolin merges with the shorty with a lot to say. Ring around the Rosie, and Astralis was already low health. You confirmed that one. Pangolin and friends. Oh, just the last one left. PowerPixel with the Red Bull clutch to give Wadadaa the pistol.
Yeah, some small micro mistakes actually coming in from both sides. I love at least a show of hand from hyperspeed in the very beginning to pressure into Fountain. It actually catches Starbound off guard because they placed their TP in front of the boxes instead of behind, so they can't really escape. So getting full flash, you just gotta hopefully win your fight, and they didn't. And that was a great start for hyperspeed, but it allows Wadadaa to like really tempo into the site. And when you're playing a 3 versus 3, there was an opportunity here to just wait out the brim smokes and then start using utility to try to flood against Wadadaa. But throwing that C's a little bit too early when you can't commit and convert with it because there's a smoke covering you. You don't really know who you seize in the first place, so you're still playing lack of information on your retake. So I feel like they should have been a little bit more patient for Hyperspeed to hold on to that util, going back into the 3v3 retake to work that in tandem with the players that are around. So Wadadaa, another big pistol round, and now you have a Starbound on the Outlaw.
Starbound's like, try that again. Try that again. I got 2 bullets in the chamber. 2 people pushed me last time. Catch it. Catch this bullet right now. And Starbound just creeping ever so close, always wanting to set up a fight with a flash on the other side of tin. And oh, you already heard that, Outlaw, so I think Runecrest isn't going anywhere too far. Second flash now from Wadadaa. They've now decided and committed into a Liver Girl. Headshot from Buddy B. Just wanted to molly, just wanted to buy time. And Wadadaa, they're not paid by the hour. They got some rounds to win, and they're on the anti-eco, and they're in full control. 3 versus 5 now for Hyperspeed to take over.
That's the issue of playing a little bit more passively, but we'll hold that thought for a bit. There's an attempt to retake, but also maybe now to die to Spike. So now I can talk over it, but I feel like maybe Bunny B, all we did hit was walk contact here towards that short side, and maybe they overheard a lot of jump spawning in the back of the APC, in back of the truck on that A site. So it was easy for Bunny B now to just crosshair placement, place it on top of it, and just punish anybody trying to jump over. And I think that was Lover Girl, if not mistaken, right? So we tried to go for a combination of the Molly and the C's, and even that didn't do enough pressure here for Hyperspeed to fight back. It is an eco no matter what, though, so you're trying to do whatever you can, but it's still a clean take by Wadadaa. Nice 6th sense by Starbound, too, realizing that they're about to get pressured, potentially here by Runecrest with the Bucky over at Long B, so they gave up that space and allowed Wadadaa to just get that plan on A.
It's the punishing power of Wadadaa's next level. You could try to bring speed, even hyper speed. That doesn't work. You could just try to jump over a box for half a second, and Buddy B will still headshot you. Like, this team is relentless. Even with the good ideas, it doesn't matter how good you think. If you can't shoot better than Wadadaa. Now, with the rifles, this was a really close round when Hyperspeed had bought up. This is how they could try to deny the bonus. Pangolin with the up. Hello. Now back into heaven. And Wadadaa, that's a threat that they have to think about.
That's actually very nice by Pangolin. You talked about it here, Lemon Kiwi, an agent that Pangolin likes to play. So utilizing, countering the Viper Orb thrown by Pyrapixel A to use that as their own screen and obstacle to get the first pick was huge. But missing that second one gives a gap right now for Wadadaa to take, especially now with the cabbages coming out on the attack because of how much we've farmed here for Astralis.
Yeah, I didn't love re-peeking, but also just shooting through the smoke blindly. Like, that's a gamble for sure. And I think once that other shot came out from Pangolin, Wadadaa were like, okay, there's still an op in heaven, and then they were able to down that. But hey, we got a fast and loose Neon with a judge, and something to say to this Wadadaa team. Respect that distance away from the judge. Starbound takes care of business as usual. Always has the element of surprise. No one's watching this. Oh, Juna almost exposed the rifle and now knows that U-Haul has not been watched. She gets caught with Molly in hand. And now there's just no time for Always. At least the Molly was a sacrificial utility to confirm the round. Yeah. And Always is just going to try and take people with them. But Wadadaa 3-0, convert the bonus.
Ain't going to happen when Starbound got the Hunter like that too. And I feel like maybe the flashes, again, I'm talking about utility usage that could benefit each other too. I think Runecrest went out to try to break that trademark. Or at least util over on that A side before the flash even came out, so they were heavily exposed and always can get the flash value from the back of spawn. And even as you're mentioning here, Lemon Kiwi, when they're trying to spray back within that deep smoke being thrown by Juna, you're giving not only your position away, but also you're not waiting for your team as well to try to isolate the fights on your retake, because already you already kind of know that the round or the site has already been given up. You got a perfect first opener by Pangolin. You already TP'd back towards that spawn. You know the execution's coming in with the Seekers, but your flasher for always was still flashing for info towards that B side line. So you got to wait for your team. You got to wait for RuneQuest. Give that value as well with the judge. So at that point, you could work better as a team to try to go for these fights, because again, they look like they're able to shoot a lot better in these last couple of rounds for Hyperspeed versus Fracture. And now if you add that component of that, the fundamentals of swinging with each other with good util, I think they could look like they could have a much better defensive side than what we're currently seeing.
And I think not only did Wadadaa keep the Outlaw, but I believe they stole Pangolin's op, which was dropped in heaven when they went down, possibly. But so that's just now 2 snipers in Wadada's favor. So if there's if Star Round keeps getting challenged, well, guess what? They brought friends. They brought the whole crew in Hyperspeed. At least they get info off that flash, as you pointed out. Something it always likes to throw out. Wadadaa going to match fire with fire, though. Boombot and flash. As Wadadaa want to still scale up carefully going into B-Long.
Yeah, and even if the dog is making noise that they're scaling up on that side, you don't see the full reaction from Hyperspeed. They're expecting and hoping and crossing their fingers that it's a 3-2 split so they can high-low these Buckies against them. But that flash confirming contact in that spot, and they're like, okay, well, this type of buy with this type of scenario here for Hyperspeed where they should be buying shotguns in this round, let's give up that space.
Oh, ruin Crest. That's a huge shutdown. That could have ruined everything, but also could have started something beautiful for Wadadaa if they had an opening at A. Now, they're gonna be committed. The Prowler's on the chase. And how is Bunny B alive? That is the power of friendship right there. But Hyperspeed coming through hookah. The longer you wait, oh, now you're paranoid about the flank. Now it's all about timing. The smoke dissipates. Juna's gonna confirm that, and Hyperspeed are gonna get crunched from all sides, from close to far away. Wadadaa will keep on keeping on.
And it was just reaction by Wadadaa too, right? So if you flash into hookah and you've heard no footsteps, no reaction yet from that side, you know they're probably playing crossfire setup, or at least one person inside hookah with a shotgun. Then you see the double push, even if PowerPixel lost their lives towards that A side short. Okay, let's account for it. That's 1 on hookah at the least. 2 towards short. What do we have now on B site then? Maximum 1 or 2 players. So let's try to create that space. Even if you don't have the exact util yet to help Bunny B to entry, just her moving in with the satchels gets good info for the rest of Wadadaa to move in as a team. So great timing, great utilization, and now a fight here towards long B.
Hey, I think this is for all the Aura marbles. For the vibes too. Oh, the elbow. The elbow, oh my god, but it's Wadadaa. It's Starbound that got clipped, and all hell breaks loose on the site, closing the door on the hookah entry. That Wadadaa thought that was the timing to jump in while that chamber was preoccupied. Wadadaa don't have a lot of people left to secure things, and it makes it so you're not very safe to go for a spike plant, but crossing the road here with spike would be insane. And PowerPixel, the silence is almost deafening. It is very scary to be alone here.
They almost overextended towards that spawn side, but knowing that they have spike would be good. Again, veterancy of this duo squad and playing with each other for the longest of times in the GC scene. All of them trying to fire on, both of them rather, trying to find hero plays this time in the pulp time.
Around to keep their distance, but now can't really help out the duo that was left in front of Tins. So a huge round for Hyperspeed. They'll get the op back, or I guess they'll keep it. Maybe if they want a second one, a shinier one even. I don't know if that one worked well, but Hyperspeed got a flawless out of that. Like, that was ironclad defense.
Agreed. And that, I think, is what was discussed here during the timeout for Hyperspeed, because if you're looking at it, play your numbers. Right, you saw that Lover Girl was about to move in towards that B site. Pangolin probably says, look, I still have the angle. I'm low HP. Let's just bait my life if we're trying to push forward. And I missed a shot. So you see them pulling back here towards that spawn site. And also to support RuneQuest, if we actually did have a rotate back from Wadadaa towards the A side. So play your numbers. Once the spike plant went down, well grouped up, beautiful flash from Always. And then it allows for you to really get that round here for that retake for Hyperspeed. Great first openers once again. And now getting first blood and being able to convert that is a great stepping stone to build that confidence to fight back against Wadadaa here.
This is going to be a tougher site to op, so I'd like Wadadaa Just trying to explode into B while also seeing what PowerPixel does on the Lurk, who wants to maybe take a better look at showers. That's how they got kind of surprised last time. Hyperspeed playing a much more conservative defense. See, and Wadadaa are right at the front door of B. Looking to flash in off Astralis' call. You also have the orbital strike from Juna, but it's the showstopper that has been stopped by Pangolin. First blood for Hyperspeed, and hello, unfriendly neighbors. PowerPixel with a huge cutoff, and we're left with a 3. Oh, now a 3 versus 2. Hyperspeed get control of the situation, and they need to stabilize, and it's hard when you hit shots like that from Starbound. Down by the dog, and Starbound is the top dog in the top chamber in the lobby, just off of that 1v1. Always 1 versus 2. This is a tough one to try and break out of. Your crosshair is going to get messed up as soon as you jump out. I like the effort off the flash, though.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that chat probably is going to say, yo, what is that flash that started off there from the side of Always that just went into the wall of Hookah? You have to understand here that they were trying to flash out so that Pangolin gets a line, but Pangolin already jumped out on the ledge of the window to try to challenge Starbound. So if you actually did pop that flash towards that front side, you would have blinded your teammate and you would have lost that fight and lost the space no matter what. So they let that pop from behind. You're hoping that Pangolin is able to win that 1v1 against Starbound, as they've always been really good in these shots so far in this second map. But unfortunately, it's Starbound that came back with a better answer this time around. I feel like we lost a little bit of coordination when we TP'd across against the Lurk of PowerPixel on Sands. And now with this ulti, look at that. All of the Seekers already went behind them. They know that there's nobody playing inside B site. Free space for them to take. Should be an easy plat now.
Smokes in place, and you have an orbital strike, and you have Hyperspeed, and you have everything. Okay, let's let loose with the orbital strike right into the teleporter. Right in front of it, and Hyperspeed. Oh, they're getting crossed up amongst the smoke. And now the Seekers from the defense overwhelmed Wadadaa, had them hesitate. You get caught flat-footed. This is a big retake from Hyperspeed. They got the Prowlers, they got everything. Luna tries to give them information to control the chaos. Oh, no. That was hilarious. And Wadadaa did not find that very funny. This is now his second successful retake from Hyperspeed.
Yeah, a little bit of a mispositioning, I would like to say, even the pit. Because you planted the spike, the pit is outside of the radius of where the Viper's pit is at. And then also the players that are playing inside the pit can't really support Starbound, and Starbound can't support the team because if a Brim Smoke goes down towards that B main side, you just saw it, there's really zero space for Wadadaa to really activate and hold this spike. So as you're playing into now the unknown for the side of Wadadaa, you saw that Hyperspeed were able to easily move into the site, have a lot of ruckus, a lot of pressure from the Neon ult, from the Odin, from the shotgun sprays. Everything was working out in their favor because of that off positioning. So a nice way for Hyperspeed to punish that mistake here from Wadadaa's setup. And to score now 2 rounds, that's already doubling what we had on the first map. Great confidence to get built up here on Bind.
No more 100% post plant for Wadadaa. Is this a new era? Like, this is an exciting game. But that was a huge investment for Wadadaa, so that big silver lining for Hyperspeed. Try to remove those win conditions, and hey, the win condition, their name is Pangolin. Another first blood with the off the chamber to finally rival Starbound. Well, Wadadaa, well, those 2 successful retakes from Hyperspeed did come from a B site post plant from Wadadaa. Nightfall from the defense. He got the pings, but she didn't have eyes in the sky. Bunny Bee gets traded, but man, looked cool doing it at least. Wadadaa wanted to follow through with that. They're getting their steps in when it comes to getting into the side. And oh, just the peek through the smoke, always. We'll beat Astralis down, and Starbound is the last one left. So this has been a very difficult B site for Wadadaa to get through. Now, 3 failed attempts.
And again, got to play as a team. Pretty much at this point with the spike being down and Starbound with the off. And the flash confirming that they're scaling up here on the site. Just got to play some good angles here. First contact down. Still leader trade. Nice try, but still a great round by Hyperspeed. That said, we were mentioning before going into this game, there's going to be a lot of 3-1-1s to try to just activate Bunny Bee a little bit more. But instead of being, well, I mean, they mix it up. Sometimes it's Starbound that's with the duo. Sometimes it's Juna. This time it's Starbound just to try to open things up. And I think right now, Hyperspeed are kind of realizing that. And all these openers and the defaults have really been leaning a lot towards this B side too. So what they can do now is try to turtle up a little bit more towards that B side, play the war of attrition with utility and information gathering that they get. And when you think here for Wadadaa's side that you're pulling out rotates, the lurks are starting to activate on those solo lanes, and Pangolin doesn't need to rotate and is getting a lot of these punishes. So I think now the conversation has to come through for Wadadaa to stir up the pot a little bit more and not be so readable currently. And I want to stand corrected, by the way, when I was talking about the assistant coach, it's actually pronounced Lukim. So big shout out to Coach Kip and to Aura to help me correct that in terms of pronunciation of the assistant coach to help out Coach Fred going into this timeout for Wadadaa. So again, we just mentioned the win con that we currently see here for Hyperspeed. You talked about the op here for Pangolin, Lemon Kiwi. So we have to try to or avoid that or punish it or be assertive of what we're trying to do here in our openers and maybe be a little bit more fast tempoed. And it might be fast tempo the name of the game. Looking at them leaning towards this A side now and looking to instantly punish this showers control.
We go.
And there's two people on, this is an important round because two people from Wadadaa have bought down to 0 credits. And you're still investing into this op, and this is an important part. Pangolin, ooh, you can't miss those. Now you give up showers. Wadadaa want to follow through, absorb all of that space. The chamber is left behind, but the jig is up and Hyperspeed know what's coming. And Wadadaa not going for B this time. Wanting to see they'll have more success on that side, but not having the element of surprise and punishing that chamber does hurt Wadadaa's chances.
Yeah. And it's sort of similar looks, except the side of Bind has been switched, right? They added the pressure. Now, oh, Starbound almost got that pick. So they actually did force these rotates. They damaged 2 players so far. Just cannot convert on kills. Unfortunately, look at the HP of RuneQuest, Luna, and Always as we finally get the heal up. But this allows now Wadadaa the tempo into the site.
Oh, what a nade from Bunny Bee! Okay, won't be flying through the sky, but we'll have a safer approach to this. Oh, jiggling. It's the last lap against Always. Throw the orbital strike from Lovergirl. You'll try to stop them, but Wadadaa will not let go. They are strangling this defense. Dog out, and this was a 4v5 push from Wadadaa. Just really trying to be more measured on their approaches, not going in too aggressively, but really trying to leverage their utility better. Now Hyperspeed sit on the other side of the smoke. Molly to force some movement. Juna will have to reposition. You still have the op in a hookah. And wait a minute, Hyperspeed are taking advantage of this Molly really splitting up the LOS of Wadadaa. 2 versus 2 on the post plant. You just gotta let the clock run down. Astralis can only do so much. And Bunny Bee is the last saving grace for Wadadaa. Now someone's on the spike, and I don't know how much they could see. And oh, the op from Pangolin confirms 3 that round. That is the win condition for Hyperspeed.
Don't know what happened there on that 1 versus 2. Why first Hyperspeed were jumping inside hookah instead of trying to have someone tap spike. That was a great opener, an opportunity for Bunny Bee to clutch it, but she wasn't ready, I guess, with her judge to think that she was going to be able to do some punishments, so she never really shot. That was the last point I wanted to actually talk about. It was everything else before that. Everything worked out in terms of how Wadadaa worked that map on the after the timeout. They were able to punish 3 players off position, but just couldn't confirm on kills. But then when it came down to holding down on the post plant, Juna had a beautiful first kill to trade out to make it a 3 versus 3. But then the second overpeak, that I didn't like that. So that gave a chance now for Hyperspeed to move back to the site to go for a plant. Or to go for the defuse, rather.
Random Molly kill, by the way, and Wadadaa, they got something off the flash from Astralis, and as they walked in, they just get burned. Such a strange approach.
Probably a miscomm too, because I would assume here that Astralis is probably dogging and then got hit by a Molly, and nobody called it for her to get off the info dog.
Sacrificial dog, and hey, you trade Wadadaa. They know how to play at these deficits, but do they know how to watch the flank? Because dogging on up as always, and Hyperspeed can crunch from multiple angles. Starbound though, you got him angry. The Ruin Crest watches from above. He can get so much information, but Power Pixelay won't let that fly by. Not on their watch. It's a very far back plant, but kind of exposed.
Oh my God.
Can't dance away from the bullets. 2 versus 2. It's been a 3-round win streak for Hyperspeed, and this is for the tie. Heard that last flash from Always, stomping on in. Needing to round out to try and get on this spike. Wadadaa, they'll take shelter in the U-Haul. It's a very dangerous place, but I know what will do the job. A good old Bucky played old shotgun. 2 HP for Pangolin. Wadadaa. The nest has been shaken. The wasps will be coming out. Hyperspeed taking the seconds to heal. And Pangolin is just on watch and confirms both. But wait, is there time? By 2 seconds, Hyperspeed will tie.
Dude, that was beautiful for Hyperspeed too. A lower buy that you had from Wadadaa, but it really came down to catching players off position. First, RuneQuest onto the bench. Yeah, they got the first pick, got traded out, but I think what really made the cards topple was the plant position once again from Wadadaa. This is now twice. One outside of the Viper Spit. This time when you have a player advantage, you kind of plant it outside in the open, thinking that you had free reign, that both players are probably rotating and flanking back from short A side. Because I think they were both spotted too on top of that. But you to see that Always went. Okay, we'll hold that thought. Actually, we're fighting aggro this round.
Oh, well, you traded
Yep.
worth, but Hyperspeed, they retaliate. They had a win in showers, and now you got the spike drop. This is disastrous, and this is Hyperspeed getting full value out of a chamber on defense, especially one with an op. But as I say that, I cast her Blessed Starbound, I guess, gets their sweet revenge, walks into B, and Always. Oh, what? How? Juna's the GOAT. That's all I gotta say.
I thought she was dead instantly there because she was running with knife out and somehow still won that won that duel. So it's actually very doable right now. There's no flash to really move forward. Thankfully, we have still a wall for RuneQuest.
Oh my God, Starbound has been flooring this Neon. Something about a speedy agent takes care of business. So does Juna. That engagement through Hookah was a huge point of success for Wadadaa to get back into the driver's seat.
Yeah, just unfortunate for RuneQuest trying to throw the wall up, but I think because they were inside that smoke, they couldn't really line it up to have the safe walls to come out. That had 0 value when they tried to jump out, and it was an easy kill for Starbound. But all of those micro mistakes that I was mentioning for Wadadaa on that previous round now finally falls back in the hands of Hyperspeed, giving a chance for Wadadaa to maintain the lead and close out the half in a strong position here. And this could have been probably a lead for Hyperspeed with how things went in the past couple of rounds.
You got Seekers and Orbital Strike. You have all the tools in the shed. It's just how sharp are they? And Wadadaa, and like that they're reinforcing their lurks, so having more of a team split. See if they can get some picks going in their favor, because I'm going to be looking forward to seeing these stats from Hyperspeed. There has been so many defensive first bloods from Hyperspeed that ease the job, but now when you have Boombot through showers, you have an exchange of the op, you force Pangolin out. What does Wadadaa want to do from here on out?
It's kind of nice too. You're probably questioning why Bunnybee would be the one grabbing the orb in the last round, but she did an excellent orb denial. RuneQuest is trying to move towards that site to pick that up. Seekers gets the early info, but already Wadadaa was already set up to work towards the same site.
All right, you know, Seekers, there's still one on the other side. Oh, and what a read from Power Pixel confirms the kill. This was the version of Wadadaa we thought we were going to see more of. This has been such an amazing challenge from Hyperspeed. Their defense has looked really strong. An Orbital Strike! Oh, doesn't clip the wings of Pangolin and punishes Astralis. And if the Gunny would have gotten up quicker, I think there could have been more kills for Starbound there, but Wadadaa will go into the second half 7-5.
Yeah, a great start, at least, though, for Hyperspeed. Maybe not even start. I'd like to say even turnaround. Because remember, this was a 13-1 scoreline on the first map for Fracture in favor of Wadadaa, and they already opened up by winning bonus on the second map as well. You're trailing behind 0-4, but you still were able to end it 5-7. So you'll take that, but take it with a grain of salt. This is where it's going to be difficult still for Hyperspeed to get activated here on their attack side. With as much as an obstacle that Wadadaa had to walk into and run into in their attack side. They have similar type of util and even op power in the roster that Hyperspeed will probably run into and encounter some tough fights as well. They gotta be cooking here.
Yeah, especially when you have double controllers that you have to face on defense versus the single. This is a more defensive comp from Wadadaa. And it's kind of the race to who's going to buy op first, or even just the anti-eco get the outlaw going, depending on how the credits look. So this first pistol round is everything for Hyperspeed. Try and get ahead of this game. And I think just how good they looked in the first half. This is a whole different team, a whole different situation, as Hyperspeed are kind of sending it as a unit. They don't have that stray lurk on the other side of the map because they're not running a Viper, and maybe Pangolin would be that person, but
yeah, and everybody's just wall contacting so far for Hyper. But that flash is going to confirm now at that minute mark that there is going to be a lot of pressure on this B side. Starbound's already ready for it.
the death ball. Oh, the speed. Oh, micro check. And Hyperspeed work their way in, working their magic. Pangolin with another first blood. Defense or offense does make it work, but Wadadaa, you have their backs against the wall. They kick back in the best of ways, and this is chaos through all the smoke. So many injuries on the Hyperspeed side. 3 versus 2. Now only Rowan Crest is the one to start. It wants to be the one that ends it, but Wadadaa take every pistol of this series.
Nice to see bandits coming out too. Double bandits on that side of Wadadaa. But yeah, initial fights, that will look really good on how Hyperspeed were able to execute towards that site. The wall contact was good until the flash saw them, and they're like, okay, well, let's just use our util. And they were able to react very, very fast to actually not allow for Wadadaa to set up to hold this B site until you stayed alive long enough here for Australis into the tub, into Tin, into the B site to allow the rest of Wadadaa to flood retake back, and he got a little bit iffy there from both sides in that fight.
Launching slow.
Starbound don't care about no dog. Just wanted the owner there at the end, but Hyperspeed. Skies are clear. They flash into U-Haul. Pangolin will notice quite a stack that's in showers. Hyperspeed will have to take note of that. They're now starting to pressure the back rooms, and Starbound turns this into the horror game. Oh my god. Wadadaa keep control. As Hyperspeed on a save still did a considerable amount of damage. They'll even get a Bucky upgrade from what was left behind, and now we're going to work their duo together. The Power Pixel is going to spot this cross. Astralis is watching heaven in case they wrap it around through spawn, and Power Pixel, oh, the chase is on.
Good enough, I guess. Lover girl though, at least we'll be able to get the plant down. But that's the biggest thing for Hyperspeed, where that could have been easily denied. Again, just like the pistol round, a little bit whiffy from both sides here. Power Pixel, it's sometimes you just have opponents you're trying to shoot in the back. Not always as easy. That confirms where the last player is at, because that is a well-placed flash to clear out that whole line right from the tube, right? So you look at the horizontal line, could be Radiant Knight box, could be in the cubby, could be inside Tin, but that is 100% confirmation that the line is easier to cover, when you're retaking that site. So very nice for Wadadaa. They stopped the bleeding, and they're looking to convert their bonus round, where they had an easy run pretty much from that fracture till now in terms of converting their bonus rounds.
And buying up that outlaw, that's important for Starbound. As it's Pangolin versus Starbound, and then the rest of the Valorant. But at least that's what I've been most interested in, because this has been, we don't get to see a lot of Star Chamber players in GC. Starbound has been so unique at being one of the best at it. And Pangolin, this newcomer, this challenger, is gonna try and dethrone the GOAT, but Hyperspeed, this has been a really good map for them thus far. But now they have to deny the bonus at a Hyperspeed, or out of Wadadaa, I should say.
And Outlaw is good here. Starbound has Outlaw versus 3 half shields. And when they break this trademark into Hookah, you see that there's not too much activation from the rest of the map, because they're all grouped up on this side. You could probably expect, if not re-clearing as a group here towards this A site, that this is going to be a late hit towards B. So the more you wait this time around here for Wadadaa, the more that the posted Outlaw will be a great position for them.
Yeah, Joe. What was that? Must have been the wind. But I respect hyperspeed not wanting to come out of hookah, especially against double controllers. Like, jumping out of that is always going to cook your aim, and there's so many little nooks and crannies in B to jump out of. So you really need to hit B from all sides, it feels like. And you're very much a death ball-y team, and hyperspeed are going to try to death ball through showers, and you just heard a shotgun at the front door. You seized it. And now it gets even closer to you. Power Pixel gets Luna down to 7 HP. And you don't... Oh, you do have Always, who's healing back up. Starbound with just the classic now with Outlaw. Oh my god, even without aiming in. So gross. A 4K for the chamber.
How does Starbound do that? Because for me, when I have the Outlaw and I'm trying to shoot a hot no-scope, I'm just whipping, and then the coach stack just laughs at me because they're like, dude, you know it's not accurate when you're not scoping with the Outlaw. But I guess because of the range and how close Luna was, it becomes a superb shot by Starbound. But as you mentioned, a death ball from hyperspeed, I wish I saw that actually on the B side open. When you were expecting or trying to find where the Opera could be, where this sniper could be, maybe try to have that extra second or third person with you, so that if you have to give your life away, at least a second or third person that swings at full health armor can maybe survive one shot and straight that out.
Bunny Bee goes fishing. It's a huge catch. Double kill through showers. Spamming. One just kind of lands in their lap. You love to see it. Hyperspeed. This was already a tough round, just based on the buys. You're able to close the gap and try to see if the Stingers could have impact at that range, but trying to reach Wadadaa on defense it has been the difficulty of this round. Now Wadadaa double their score.
Last player standing.
Even past double digits and really close it out. Like I said, this was going to be a very tough second half for hyperspeed to play against the firepower that you have here from Wadadaa. So, or it's now what they were doing well in my eyes, despite, you know, losing 4 rounds in a row, was getting hookah control and breaking the trademark. But you just saw what happened a couple of rounds ago. When they did that, there was zero reaction from the side of Wadadaa. They need now to probably spread themselves out a little bit more so that they could maybe identify where that op could be. Kind of like what Wadadaa was doing in their 3-1-1 setups, where it looked like Pangolin was really farming in those kills. But that, even with a sacrificial kill on the side of Wadadaa, gave themselves a better read onto how they could really hit sites and avoid the op in the first place and really just crowd the site in numbers.
And going into the second half, like, Pangolin and Starbound were about 16 kills each, give or take. Not super accurate there, but now Starbound's at 22, which already tells me that Starbound is a type of chamber that you can GG. Get a... That one is GG, but 2, I mean, now they're pissed, and now they're playing even better. But also, this is a type of chamber that can do well on offense and defense, because a lot of the chambers, sometimes you just have that strong defensive side, and then...
It's over,
No one feeds the beast, you know? Yeah, you fall off, and Starbound is really stepping up to kind of help Wadadaa get back into this game, because it was only 7-5 going into the second half.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying it's cool things that we're seeing from Wadadaa in the 3-1-1 setups, that it's not always just Starbound lurking with Power Pixel A. Sometimes Starbound is with that duo, so that they are that secondary trade factor for the one creating space like Bunny Bee. That said, now, after this timeout, it is definitely, you can see this buy out from the attack side, and we're actually pulling out an attack side top. And this is very similar pastures to see, like, for example, going towards that shower side to fight against Cryo in the VCTs. They're trying at least to control those sides and those extremities, and it works out.
Starbound teleporting there, I was like, was that a trust issue? I felt like you had you kind of took the Prowler just so to bait for your teammates, and I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm a stat patter here. But 5v4, hyperspeed is very familiar situation with the Seekers. They kind of guide you towards where these final targets are. And oh, Starbound, such a good anchor for the defense. Always good for one. Hyperspeed, yeah, are good for this plan as well. There's only 1 target left, and there we go. Hyperspeed are not done yet post timeout.
All you had to do was wait that smoke. Juno overextended to try to move into the showers to potentially pick up an orb or denied something, and getting closer to the ult gets punished right away by the op. That forces now the hand of Wadadaa to react a little bit more. And what great timings to use these ults for the side of hyperspeed, because the Seekers even saw where the Showstopper was at. The Showstopper got 0 value. And then you knew where the weak side was towards the end there for hyperspeed when Juno already fell in the first place towards showers. So great way to dissect that map on their slow default for that round around the op. But that's already a tell now from this timeout that hyperspeed are going to play a little bit slower because of this op. So now here's the other read. What they're going to try to do this time around too. Now they're going to try to push out and try to find some information.
Starbad don't even need information. Just hit those and leave. Pangolin, it's one of their own too, though, and it's on the right side of the map. So does that inspire hyperspeed to change plans? You know what? I've kind of brought a stack to showers, so there's always more around the corner. But they're going to re-hit B. Doesn't matter what the lure created. The Seekers, too, from Astralis. They know what is up, and now the clock is ticking because Wadadaa rotating in. Hyperspeed need to get a plant going while they have their smoke still up.
Starbound's still going to shut down every single lane too. That's going to force the TP from hyperspeed back onto the A site. I'll take a second to say this is how you know you have a good opper and a good chamber player in Starbound when that just happened for the first blood. I'll talk about it in a second now because hyperspeed are planning towards the A site. They're trying to play this post plant, but we have this lurk from PowerPixel as well. Everybody's injured so far from Wadadaa.
And you just can't make noise if you're PowerPixel. So it's going to take some time, but he shut down the op of Pangolin. That's huge. And Wadadaa, they're closing in. Hyperspeed, they only have a small amount of space. They're going to buy some more with the orbital strike. And it's just done like that in the blink of an eye. Wadadaa will get to match point, series point.
Yeah, and let's talk about what makes a good offer and why Starbound is so good on this agent as well. You just, when you're a one-trick pony and you're excellent at an agent, it's just like Exter, for example, with Yoru, with so many changes until now. You've seen such good plays coming out from Exter, who's like the specialist there. This time here for Starbound, a flash comes out. You're trying to fake flash so that RuneQuest could actually swing out and try to go for a pick, thinking that the opera would probably swing away and turn away from the flash. What you could do now for Starbound is you realize if I'm going to get hit by a fault line, if a prowler is coming against me, if a flash is coming against me, I'm only going to TP if that activates. So they just look down that line, they get that pick, they get the kill, then they TP. So that's one of the small things that makes Starbound so good here on this very agent, and such a pain point to play against when you're on the attack side. So at this point, you just have to make sure you commit to that flash, get him off that line, give yourself the line of sight and space for the team. Exactly like that.
Once this Nightfall gets into position, all hell will break loose, but kind of some chaos on the right side of the map, and PowerPixel is just going to give them a safe space to hide behind with the Viper's Pit right through A short, but Hyperspeed are breaking in through showers. Juna's going to call that out with the one-way smoke. I like that out of PowerPixel, and this is why controllers are so strong on this map. It's so tough to break through for the attackers.
Good thing, though, it's at least a 4 versus 4. Hyperspeed with one committed inside that pit. They do have an opener that they commit with towards the shower side. If you're looking at it from this mini map, there's really only that pressure coming out from Juna. They could actually trade her out and get a plant if they want to. They just want to make sure here that they utilize the neutral. There you go.
I don't know if that Nightfall reached the people in U-Haul and within the Viper's Pit, so Wadadaa have something to hide behind, but not if Pangolin enters with a Bucky and ends it all. Hyperspeed playing for their series lives here, and 12 seconds left. The Astralis can try and prevent it. No. Trying to take this 1v1 against the Neon. Starbound is always adding to this equation, subtracting players from Hyperspeed. It's a 2 versus 2. Pangolin lurking about was the one that ended the pit, but Wadadaa, they have to retake at this point. Try to defuse the spike, and Luna's watching over, and still a good crosshair adjustment from Astralis in that moment. Someone's on the spike. Pangolin has to answer the call. The team depends on it. No, it's Wadadaa that defuse and take the series in 2.
Defenders win.
Big W for Wadadaa, and you just saw what happened there on that second half. Very hard to deal against this roster, against the op. Double controller stall, and a nice attempt at least, though. I love that we saw resurgence from hyperspeed from that first map to the second one, but unfortunately, again, it's the rude awakening, as you mentioned before here, Lemon Kiwi, going into this game. Their first shot at the Swiss stage, trying to get to the main event right now, into the top 8. And there's still a lot of Valorant still to be played for a team like Hyperspeed, but to see them able to turn out from that first map to the second one gives me at least a little bit of hope that it could make it very, very competitive against the other teams throughout the Swiss stage.
And you're going to get easier opponents, right? Because you're going to face another 0-1 team. Wadadaa, it gets harder from here on out. You're going to face a 1-0 team. And speaking of 1-0 teams, FlyQuest also made quick work of their match. I saw a map that was 13-2. So FlyQuest are also having a banger of a start. But we'll update you guys all on the results, and we'll have a special interview exclusive. Taking first looks at Wadadaa after this series wins, so we'll see.
Hey, we got this old mattress.
Waterbed.
And the receipt.
How about you beat it with a better deal on one of these fresh setups?
We can't do that.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal today.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
I'm just gonna leave it.
Red Bull gives you wings.
It's a good day to be a Wadadaa fan if you're just tuning in. Good news, 2-0 over Hyperspeed. Better news, we have an amazing Verizon post-match interview. There we go. And it's with a Bunny Bee, none other than the duelist GOAT herself, joining us here very shortly. And it's going to be exciting to kind of get the vibe check from Wadadaa going into this, because, I mean, it's dominant on map 1 and closer on map 2, Vance.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're thinking about what happened in the last 2 maps as well, to see Wadadaa having their debut on stage 1, going to play Fracture, that wasn't their map pick. And then being able to make that work too, with Bunny Bee switching out from, you know, the crushed Yoru during kickoff and being able to go back to her bread and butter of the Rays, it looked really good overall. But again, I think before talking about one side for Wadadaa, I still want to show and hype up here on the side of Hyperspeed. Again, a defensive side for Hyperspeed, really good. I think they had a lot of good opportunities for first bloods. They were able to get it with the op in the first place, but then also being able to clean up a little bit of their retakes and their fundamentals to play as a team on these fights against Wadadaa made it very difficult for actually Wadadaa to convert these rounds on the attack side. It wasn't as dominant as it was here for Wadada's side as it was on Fracture, but things definitely changed here once we got the defensive side for Wadadaa. It was hard even for Hyperspeed to get on site and for plants, and I think we're able to see here during the halftime between the maps, when King Fred has an opportunity to talk to the team as well, that they're able to just clean things up and remain calm and stoic to make sure that they close up the map undefeated on the defensive side on Bind.
And this was the matchup, guys. The Starbound versus Pangolin show. I was stoked. There's only one chamber that got to win, though, and Starbound proving just how good they are on offense or defense. And I did get ahead of myself, but we'll be joined finally by the one and only Bunny Bee. Now that we had to go through all the fun numbers, Bunny Bee, congratulations on the big dub. First series of the stage, starting out with, geez, a 13-1. That was crazy. How are the vibes like in the Wadadaa camp starting off the stage?
I mean, everyone's super chill always. Like, it's always low, like, calm energy, you know? So there's not really too much pressure on me, and they make it pretty easy for me, so.
That's awesome. Bunny Bee, by the way, awesome to get to chat with you again. I don't think I had a chance to speak with you since like your Supernova days with the Complexity
Cozy Clash, I think last time.
Exactly, the Cozy Clash. And then you were, if I'm not mistaken, already playing a lot of Rays back then. You had to play a little bit of Yoru this time around during the kickoff, but it's nice to see you back on the Rays too. So how is that for you, being reacquainted, readjusted with the team now that you have like this Yoru nerf and Waylay nerf in the composition right now for the meta?
I mean, it works a lot better for us because we don't really have like we don't really play very many like double duelist comps, and that like was like the meta before the current meta, and now so like solo duelist is seeming to work like a lot better for us, and like the Rays is back, so I am happy about that. Like the Rays rockets are always really fun, so yeah.
Dude, I loved watching you run around on Fracture with a showstopper right in people's faces. We were so stoked to watch you. And how has it been also working with some of the new staff that have joined you this season? You got a new coach. How's that been?
Yeah, Lakeem is so good. He really just like puts in a lot of work. He gives us so many different strats and so many different ideas to try for new maps and like new comps. And yeah, he's been a super helpful addition to the team.
Awesome. How was that actually going to practice into today in this stage? Because I was trying to get King Fred to coach stack with us, but apparently you guys were screaming till like midnight yesterday. So it looks like you guys are putting a lot of work. So talk me through the process of how badly you want this for stage 1 to be at the top now for Wadadaa.
Yeah, I mean, we're putting in the work. Or my team is very, very, very strong. They're all very, very talented. And we're putting in the work. And just for anyone going against us, you know, be ready.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be ready to watch or cast whatever it is. We're all set because it's always a good day watching y'all play. Thank you so much for the interview, Bunny Bee. Nice and easy.
Congrats.
Go and enjoy and celebrate
thank
with
you.
the team, and we'll see you for the next match.
Cool.
That was a Bunny Bee, the duelist GOAT, the Rays extraordinaire today, who had a ton of fun with the Rockets, and we had a ton of fun casting them.
Yeah, and it's not over yet because as we said at the beginning of the show, top of the show, you guys are stuck with us for the whole day. We got another BO3 coming up after this, Lemon Kiwi.
Oh, of course. Sen Otters. Yes, the Blue Otter gang got picked up by the one and only Sentinels, and they're facing off against TV. And Battison will be facing their former team. So I'm going to stir the pot a bit. I'm going to let you guys simmer on that, and we'll see you after the break.
The
human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secretlab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Not much longer now, and I will also take to the skies.
Me too.
You? No, you will always be a worm.
Just wait and see.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone, to Game Changers presented by Verizon. We have our second match of the very first day of the stage. So exciting. And none other than Sentinels Otters, Sen Otters versus TV.
They're my senators.
Oh,
Senators
you
of Sen
were
City.
banking that one.
Oh, that was a good one. No, I just came up with it.
Oh,
The
you're
Senators
cooking.
of Sen City. Dude, that's fire. Welcome, welcome, Sen City fans. But no, this is a super fun one. But as you can see, too, that we have plenty of matches as well. We have now the debut of this year for Shopify Rebellion Gold as well, as they were able to avoid the kickoff. And unfortunately for them, they were able to make it to Challengers. Unfortunately, didn't win a series, have to go back to relegation. But now going back into Game Changers for this stage, where they've been always so dominant. But you guys can catch all the other games here for match 2, 3, and 4 on the different streams that you see at the bottom of your screen. But definitely now we can focus on the Senators and TV. I think we're just going to call them that all game.
Well, you know, Sentinels are gonna have a word with you if they hate that or not. For me, though, you know, we can focus on TV first, because they're that big question mark in Game Changers right now. There's some familiar names, namely someone like, well, Sonder not on this one. At least she was listening in the last game, but Leia will be jumping in, and someone like Irene, who's on the Initiator, played Breach and was dropping crazy amounts of kills. So I'm a big fan of Irene.
Yeah, there's a possibility that Sonder might still be able to play now. She's still listed as a sub in the roster too. She's played the last 2 games as well for TV that allow for them to qualify into the Swiss stage. But even though she's there or not there, I think overall there's also already a lot of the talent that you see here from the side of TV, playing in different iterations, different teams in past GC experiences. I think this is also very normal going into every year of GC, that a lot of the teams that are not necessarily teams that are unsigned, but just in general are always trying to find like the best team that's going to be able to go as deep as possible and go for that run. So hopefully this time the amalgamation of this roster is going to work out to pull up a very good game here against the Senators.
And you know, Vance and I are going to be biased about Henri, considering it's a French word, and you're going to hear us pull out the accent every now and then, but they got to pull out all the punches against this team right here. The Sentinel Otters, Senators, the Sen Otters. This has a lot of big, yeah, I know, you're going to adopt me into that camp, but Madison is facing their former team, because they used to be on TV back in the day.
Yeah, and also a sharp player too for the team in general. A lot of potential for the player as Battison, but overall a team of Blue Otters that finished second place, defeating Wadadaa during kickoff, and also now losing to FlyQuest, I think 3-1. But there were a roster that were very interesting going into this year, because you have so many different roles that are being portrayed by every single one of these players. Sometimes one's going to play a duelist, the next one they're going to play a Senti, the next one they're going to play probably like a Sky or something like that as well. So to see how the meta has changed and starting to evolve now with the Euro nerfs, I didn't go into any of the preps of what they could come out with this time around in this matchup, because it could be all new once again.
Yeah, and speaking of teams that, well, we kind of heard from Bunny Bee, they don't really run the double duelist, but this team does. Battison and Oasis, back when ISO Yoru was the flavor du jour, that was a really fun composition out of them. Battison even adapting the Waylay. May throws out the Clove every now and then, which is always quirky when teams do that to replace one of their controllers, and Sin is another chamber to watch when it comes to Game Changers, and we'll be biased towards her as well, because she's Canadian, and so are we. Something about Canadians taking over Valorant.
That's the thing. You're honorary now because you live in the States, but it doesn't matter. I still
I'm a traitor.
you as a Canadian. No, it's okay. You're still good. You're still good. Don't let that be clipped out in case you have to cross the border back and forth. Lemon Kiwi. You're still good. You're still good. But yeah, we get to see the maps at least now. We're going to see some more Fracture once again, which is super fun. I think going to Challengers and going to the VCTs, I've seen rarely any Fractures in North America or in the Americas overall. So I'm happy to see this being portrayed a lot more here in the Game Changers. And again, I think it's also because Breach is somewhat still usable from certain teams going into the Game Changers. So I think going back into seeing if Breach is able to work out for any of these teams. I don't know if TV is going to pull it out for this event here, but it's fun to see different already iterations of these rosters though.
Hey, but if you guys had fun watching some Tejo, some Chamber, some Breach on Fracture like we saw in our last series, this team is going to do it again. TV, my eyes are on Harper. How competitive is this Chamber going to look against some of the best Chambers that we have, including against Sin, who also likes to play Chamber on this map sometimes. And this is a big map to test out your macro, your rotations, and all of your game plans, because it takes forever to get around this map.
Oh, definitely. But again, you won't need to rotate as much if you're able to really, especially on the defense, really control some of these quadrants. You have to push them back into the stacks. You have to try to work your way well on the defensive side to push them towards where the stall is going to be for your senti anchor, or for the chamber, for them to be able to get like an op shot and escape, right? So that's basically the basics of trying to work the map here. If you give too much space on the attack side, there's just so many quadrant to work from that if you're starved from that information, you're most likely always going to get surprised.
And we just haven't seen Fracture from even the former Blue Water quote squad. And now that they're picked up by the Sentinels org, I feel like there's so much more to prove, even though you've already proven enough in order to get signed. But now you have to represent that banner so well. So a big welcome to Sentinels when it comes to the GC scene, and kind of a big unknown in terms of this map. Like I said, Sen Otters haven't really played it in the past, while as TV, this is their playground. This is their choice.
Nice. We're going to have a little bit of a mirror matchup with the exception of the Senti role. And just comp-wise, I might have to give a slight advantage over to the Senators because of what Vice is able to do and counter versus a Neon. Right now, you're hoping that Harper playing as this Chamber is just going to be on point for shots, just like Starbound was previously, that we just witnessed earlier on. And that would maybe make the game a little bit more even right now for the back and forth that we may expect here from these two teams.
And I think this Chamber is going to do a lot better on defense anyway. Just when you're able to step up, lurk, call back whenever you need. You don't really want to call back on attack when you kind of want to go in and take advantage of the positions that you're taking. But it's a big role to be a lurk on this team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how TV are going to work as a squad when they don't have maybe as much time together compared to the Sen Otters, and how much pressure they're probably facing on the other side. So I'm expecting a closer series here.
And let's go back to why people still want to play this Breach here on this map. And even if Breach has a 60-second cooldown on the fault line, just if you're trying to be explosive and open up quite aggressively, maybe that one singular fault line that you might have for that round might be good enough for you to go for that team fight, for the crunch on the north side or the south side, and take this to your advantage on the defense. And a Rolling Thunder is always going to be very, very good to take here from underpass or for your main executions overall. Fault lines too across the board that goes into the top of B Heaven will allow for some good map control to be taken as well for the attack side. But we'll finally get to witness it to see how this will pan out for both of these teams, as we were just talking about here, the north side start, and it's TV leading on that side on this 4-1 setup.
And this is the Sen Otter squad that got second in kickoff. So a lot of excitement behind this team, and if this will be the year where they could remain above a team like Wadadaa, could they dethrone SRG? Even FlyQuest have had their numbers. So we're going to take a look at how TV are going to put up some pressure. And while Sen Otters, they got hit in the face. What a death match to kick off our pistol, as Sen Otters will stay ahead of the game and they have eyes on Spike.
That's exactly it. Trying to fight fire with fire. It is going to be explosive, no pun intended, when you have a Breach and a Tejo to double up for these fights.
Ooh, Harper's making this winnable, though. Having to recover the Spike, that's going to be the challenge here. And if you're Sen Otters, you keep to that crossfire. No, they're greedy. They want to go for the swing. Might as well. You got the numbers. You got the better shot. So Sen Otters will take the pistol.
And that was also from that push that you saw from Sin on the top of Dish that was able to even pincer. So on one end, you have a face-to-face fight where everybody's so busy to focus on countering the push from the arcade side that you're able to find a great timing from Sin. That's exactly what I was talking about. When you don't have ways to really punish on certain quadrants, either on the attack or defense, there's still weaknesses you could exploit on both sides. And now they've read themselves perfectly for these two teams to just fight with utility in their favor. And turns out here for the side of Sen Blue Otters, as now on the bonus round, just trying to push forward here. We got a couple of rifles and already some quadrants been taken care of, or being picked up by Badison too with the Outlaw. But look at that forward line. Now you could just focus on stacking on this B side and stalling with the util from both the Breach and the Tejo, so that the Neon can move in and help out.
Sen Otters being as patient as they can, while TV will take the most out of the time to farm up the orbs. Make sure your spike's in a safe position too. Leia will be the last one there. Sen Otters have a 3-2 setup. And Sen Otters also have an Outlaw in tow, so TV, they can just get onto the site early and get a plant. This would be the best position for them. They're taking their sweet time. And I think all this silence, too, has made Sen Otters quite paranoid. They're starting to split off and reinforce A after encounters. Now hearing that orb, that's something May is going to call out. Tejo drone in, smokes back up. Now the attack are going to enclose in the site. Mizu already taking some damage, hoping to guide the spike towards the safe spot. And Badison emerges with the Outlaw, and TV have their backs against the wall. Oh, through the smoke, Harper wanted to maybe do some damage with the classic. Can't underestimate what the right click can do. And TV, there was almost a bloodbath getting into here, but Sen Otters will win the anti-eco.
Some nice shots though by Irene. Nonetheless, though, as they finally were able to explode into a site, that's what I was talking about. When you have the forward line taken away by Sen Otter, with Madison taking the full A side line, you know nobody's going to be pincering, right? So when TV's trying to drop, trying to get into a plan, everybody could just focus from the spawn side up into drop. There's smokes that comes through, they just run outside of the smoke. You have so many players, and on top of that, firepower to just stop that fight and prevent even TV from building up economy from a spike fight themselves. Bonus round though, you see a little bit of a pivot across. Big fight though towards the A site.
And Sin is still deathless. Like, one of the most decorated players when it comes to this team, and it's truly a flex. Like, remember, they were back on Initiators, they could play Sentinels, and they're standing up here on the Vise. Having a good Sentinel on defense, that spells trouble in the TV camp. Now still waiting. Protect their spike area. Now feeling good, but Sen Otters are going to disrupt the plan. Coming in with a shotgun to the dome. Hello, TV. Welcome to your first match. Sen Otters are not joking around.
They're not watching TV, though, for the side of Sen Otters. They are fighting. They are not giving any type of chance for TV to really set up anywhere. And yeah, there's just great stalls across the board. That push that you saw here from that tree side, not only do they see nobody, but that's just great info for the weak side to just get prepped up to stall. That's exactly what I was talking about before. Even the pathing you saw from Badison, as they push 3 players towards that south side, Badison just checks towards Arcade from the underpass to see where the pressure could be at here from TV. They're always ahead of the curve right now in these early rounds to know where TV is going to be hitting from. So now TV, I think for me, has to play a little bit more inserts and maybe give that responsibility here for Harper to try to lock down the whole quadrant or whole 50% of that map on the south side or north side, so that TV could be a little bit more spread across the map.
Tejo drone got no information for TV, so probably not wanting to Rolling Thunder in blind. And Sen Otters, they're just trying to poke and prod from the perimeter. TV sit on an island and they're floating just fine. Sen Otters hoping to surround and conquer or even divide if they could, but breaking in through the smoke. Splash out from Ava. Oh, that was Aftershock. And TV are caught completely off guard, but they'll remain with their numbers in tow and pull off a Thrifty.
Okay, that works out in the end. I wasn't expecting for that to happen this time around here for TV, but it was just a surprise drop, adding a little bit more tempo into it instead of just waiting until like the 30-40 second round to go through for them to actually hit, where they gave a chance for Blue Water to find that info across that map. And again, it was a little bit it happened, sorry, off camera, but the Harper shots probably were super sick here from that A side hold. TP was set up just under the pass, so they could just be able to get these picks off the reflood from Senator on that defense. Now you're seeing that they don't want that to happen anymore. Look at him adding that pressure here towards that north side. And the Crab is going to spot Mizu maybe.
I hate that you called it a crab. Now I can't unsee it. Oh, but you can't unsee that. And you ever just swing and see 5 people? That's very unfortunate. TV. Now the jig is up. The plan will ensue, and that's a good pick. You destroy the lurk. Now SOTRs. Well, they want to have a safe position so that they can kind of retake as a team, and I don't know how safe you're gonna be, Avery, but, or I should say May at that point. Avery's on the way and couldn't bail out. Hello, teammate. TV. Look how they're spreading themselves thin so that they can try and catch any angle SOTRs are gonna push from. Have those timings. And Irene ready to push back at any moment with that rolling thunder. SOTRs, I mean, you probably don't even need the ult anymore. SOTRs, though, have an op in the equation, so you may have to rethink this approach. The rolling thunder will be pulled. This will pop up SOTRs like popcorn, and Henri will try to break things up with the wall, and nice clock in, clock out type of round here for TV.
That's so close, too, for Avery to save their weapon. They just got hit by the edge of the rolling thunder, and that launched them up and didn't allow for them to move here with Madison to save or attempt to save the weapon. All of them with knives out, but at least Irene has support, has the better weapon too, as Madison has no choice but to pull out a class to fight in the end. A great round actually for TV to answer back. This means now that the op is out of the question for this upcoming round. And if you're looking too from Madison, you have at least the overdrive ready that you could fight with now if you still want to add that heavy aggression. And it looks like it, right? You have the fault line potentially being set up now by Avery from the spawn up on the north side of arcade. The smoke will drop at the same time too, but not necessarily will we see Madison potentially just moving with the overdrive to take over that spot. Yeah, they want to wait to see what they hear, sorry. As they walk contact, it was basically the fault line to support with that overdrive right after. But now they're going to keep themselves guessing here, as TV has not made a single noise.
And that threat of the op still looms, but how about the threat of a ton of ults from SOTRs? So how much are you going to want to invest in this? We'll get to maybe Madison get active. Did I curse it? I did. The double walk up shut down TV. Stacked and ready to go. And SOTRs have to respect it. Avery have a full kit ready to greet them on the other side. SOTRs, I mean, Oasis still also has a drone, but they know exactly where TV is going to be, and they have Sin watching the other side, so all good.
And I think with the way that we're rotating across now for SOTR, you would expect here now that the Vice is set up towards the C site, because you are so proactive by going underpass with the pathing. So now they know that it's most likely going to be soft site on A, even if the wall and stall is going to be there from the U tilt. They're still outnumbering the defense.
30 seconds left.
The thorns are gone. TV. Okay, there's also a wall, and now there's a flash. And TV, there's a lot of hoops to try and jump through. A lot of util that will delay you, but will it stop them? TV now have salvos. Now there's a steel garden from Sin. TV, I mean, you just don't have time. There's too many weapons. There's too many tools in the SOTR's arsenal. As Oasis kind of gets a little impatient, wanted to check if they grab the spike, and TV just don't have time to plan. Sin just needs to live, so SOTRs will have a Red Bull clutch by the skin of their teeth.
So you see what I mean, how annoying it is to play against the Vise right now in the composition too. And I think it was a little bit off there by TV that they read the correct site, but instead of trying to walk contact and trying to get the punish somewhere, they activated by making a lot of noise. Henri was already running forward here with the high gear, and that allowed here Sin just to pop the razor vines. That slows things down for 7 seconds. Then they're trying to hit the site. There's a wall that comes up, and then from the razor vines and making noise, everybody already rotated back here on
Ooh, okay, what an explosive start from SOTRs. That is aggressive. You're left with a 2 versus 2. A big win for Avery, and nothing left in the tank from Harper, who has to cross the 7 seas to try and recover the spike. But at least the element of mystery is there. I like Avery's position. We'll be able to keep checking on this angle.
Oh, no.
And does Harper around the corner? No way. Not on Avery's watch. And that's back-to-back rounds for SOTRs.
Yeah, just got a little bit of a repeat of a pistol round, except with weapons this time around. So nothing more to add on that. Just great reads and trades from both of these teams. Now you have to look at the state of the game going into this round, though. As SOTR was able to stop the aggression from TV. They get the round. They don't have money for an op this time around too. Looks like they still want to keep Madison onto the overdrive with a Bucky at the same time too. While for TV though, they are investing into another op. This is a heavily invested round now going out here for the TV.
Okay, orbital strike. Oh my god, that's aggressive Sen Otters. This is another big round where they take the initiative, but TV, they've been able to trade out in these big encounters, but this time, still a 5 versus 5 somehow. Now Henri did get injured through that encounter, so I don't know if the overdrive, this will be around for that. Now kind of noticing the Vise setup from the defense. TV are have to figure out how they want to get through that.
We'll see if this is what I like. They finally walk contact up. They almost got that punish onto Madison. Now they could stall. They can now reset with a minute left. This is actually all very good. I don't know if they necessarily baited out the wall yet, but oh yeah, there you go. It just disappeared.
Right there.
Now they're all booking it towards this A site, but you still have stall coming out here from Blue Water. That Armageddon from Oasis could really work in their favor to re-fight on this site.
Not going through the most obvious path here for TV, and at least Oasis reads it. Orbital strikes, they will exchange. Big ults are coming out, and TV, they broke their way in. And you claimed Oasis. That was that solo defender, but the rotations are in. Here, the Rolling Thunder, Avery at 2 HP. The last breath. Tried to put a stop to TV. Responding Armageddon from Leia. One thing's in TV's favor, but so many ults came out. This is so back and forth.
And all placed at the right spots too. I felt like nothing out of that was a stumble from either of the teams. Just again, because Oasis felt pressured. They went for the Armageddon to try to stall towards Sands because they were going to get it split towards that site. But then you have a counter right away. I think what happened was Ennui, after seeing the positioning, they went for the relay bolt, stunned 2 players, and the orbital strike from Mizu actually got good value, even killing Oasis in the process. They spread like cockroaches, unfortunately, and then they all get caught. And then all the trades for the ults went in favor of TV in the pulse plan. So that was very, very nice. That breaks the econ for the side of Senators. There you go. But it was an important round to win because we talked about an econ that would have been broken for them if they lost.
Been waiting to see so much more of TV after they bottomed out of the 2026 kickoff. So we're wondering what were they going to do during that break between kickoff and stage 1, and to play this close to the Sen Otters, I'm really, really impressed. They've looked good in this map. Just going in with so much confidence to fight the fire with fire. Now Sen Otters don't have the best of bye to try and stop this. Madison has a Bucky and hoping to get close to TV. And Avery catching on me, skipping away. And the Bucky from behind! Madison, it's slaughtered! What is going on? A thrifty for Sen Otters!
Oh, that was sick by Madison. But all that only happened thanks to the great shot from Avery. Winning a Sheriff versus a sliding Neon that is trying to disrupt towards Sands. Everybody is so focused on trying to trade out against Avery that Madison finds the surprise attack, drops from above, and just one single Bucky shots, 4 players. Pulls in the gap too because you're able to just close that gap with a Neon High here. That was just very, very sick.
I was not expecting that. I wish my Bucky could do that, but now Sen Otters double the score. Oh, and it's a Rolling Thunder from TV. They want to amp things up, and a judge screams loud in May's face. And now you get too antsy. You rush in right into the loving arms of Sin. This was all a ruse. TV are quick to change their minds, change their plans, and Sen Otters still have to clear back into A. TV, they're expecting some trouble, so it's going to take them a second, so Sen Otters could be catching up here.
But they already did. The fact that Mizu decided to fall back and grab the orb before moving into the site.
Oh no, now you're just trying to get off with a safe plant. Leia's kind of hesitating. Madison smells blood in the water. Oh my god. Sen Otters just overwhelmed them at the end, and this is a good momentum from SOTRs at that point.
Yeah, it was crazy too. I saw Madison slide in and pulling out the op. I was like, what the hell's going on here? But thankfully, you still had 2 more players behind her just to help them out to go for that instant trade. But again, I think by forcing you're trying to sell this fake. You're rolling thunder towards that B side. You get an opener. You force the rotate to happen, and you even chose the right site because the Vise was actually playing towards B. So technically, the best stall that you have right now on the A site is a fast rotate from the salvos from the tail or even a breach fault line. But because you waited, and then by making all the noise in the first place, on top of that, grab the orb, you've lost all your timing to really move into the site. Especially if your space maker and Henri already died towards that B site for the fake, so you really needed to change things up a little bit there, or switch things up in the fast tempo. You should be the neon for the rest of the 4 players, but you got met by your own stall, and allow here Blue Water to really start running away here with this first half where it looks so close in the beginning.
Excuse me, Vance, they're not blue anymore. They're red. Get with the times, old man. Like, they're
Red Otters?
Red Otters. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. But TV, I mean, they're the ones who are gonna get red in the face here very soon if they can't pull off a more consistent attacking round. I think also that 4K Bucky, that's got to be mentally crushing.
Yeah, they're definitely blue from the suffocation from Madison's Bucky.
That's a tough one, but man, these rounds have gone by so fast with how large this map is. TV wasted no time trying to get active, but it's Sin, who was deathless for so many rounds. Probably not anymore. That has been a thorn in their side, literally. Sheer up, Thorns out, despite the Teo drone in, trying to get numbers on the B site, but TV are going to find an alternate path and trying to crunch with their lurk here of the chamber.
What I'm liking right now for TV is early rounds are baiting out the wall though. The first line of protocol is just starve them from information for senators.
Sin trying to be ever so careful. TV, I like that they address and try to pressure this, and you're hearing the ropes getting grabbed, guys. You have to throw everybody at Sin in order to kill her. I'm very surprised. TV, this definitely threw a wrench into their plans. Madison confirm the kill. Oh, okay, now that's a better shot. Just needed a bit of a warm-up. Now Leia with 11 HP and a dream to plant, a dream to save the round, and that dream is dead. 8-3 now for SOTRs.
Yeah, so what I like at least for TV, like I said, is the first layer is to bait out the wall. Once you get rid of that utility, you're forcing Blue Water or SOTRs to peek out a little bit more and maybe try to punish. They almost did so onto, I think, Sin right on top of the B heaven. But I think with this comp that you currently have for TV, if you're trying to fault line or salvo and you still haven't gone on top of that rope by that point, I think you have to switch it up on the fly. You have basically a brimstone and neon. You could neon wall, just flood from the front side and fight Jenny instead of lemming up the ropes and giving free kills away like that.
All right, there's protocol. Drone in, trigger
Break
shear,
wall. Yeah.
break wall, and then go home. The Harper stays in spawn, watches out for any SOTR shenanigans, because they've had some defensive rounds of their own that have thrown us for a loop. So TV not found a way through, but a way around that Sentinel setup.
And they're looking to just late re-hit into B here. But the thing that's difficult right now is because the chamber is already holding the south side with the trip with the rest of the team. So that north side position you have from Madison, they know they could just hold the B side.
Okay, Henri with the judge. Madison with the Bucky at the other round. Now it's a tale of 2 neons with a lot to prove, and Henri is just lighting up this kill feed. Better get out of her way. Ace opportunity. One on the left, and rushes into the action. Oasis will silence her for good, but it's Leia that finishes off the job. 8-4 now in the half for SOTRs.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to path for heaven instead of going for arcade side, south side is actually very good from that staircase. That was basically a 20 old school style of the wall up on all the way up the staircase of B. You have breach utility to help you out. You slide up to get the space. That was very nicely executed in the end. So keep it simple. Keep it to the old school style with the old school comp, and it works out. So now, though, things are going to be, I think, as difficult for TV. I think seeing how you've elaborated your strats here and how you're working very well as a team for SOTRs, I think they might have easier ways to fight into the arcade control, especially with this pistol round. Nobody's contesting it for the side of TV.
To see Harper be a standout. I think the chamber is a lot easier to use on defense, but I mean, if SOTRs are gonna bulldoze their way in, I guess it doesn't matter what perch you're gonna be sitting on. SOTRs just run this site like they own it. Look at this chase down. Battison, the hunt is on, and everyone's looking like prey out here. So TV will have to watch from the outside looking in, and SOTRs are now roaming around outside looking for more kills. And this is just the pistol. Addison lines things up, confirms the third. Only one left, and it's Irene, the initiator go here for TV, is having to dance against a lot of initiator stuff being thrown at them. So kind of a taste of your own medicine at this point. This is terrifying for Irene. Ooh, nice shots though.
They were trying to jump around too to give that kill over to Battison to just stat up the stats.
Sorry.
But at least in the end, they got the perfect trade. So it turns out really good. I think the pathing was super sick by Battison, just hunting down every single one of these players from TV. And that was a little bit tough to do when I feel like they were actually adding a lot of pressure from TV onto the south side. I think they still played it well by playing south side to B. They're trying to escape as much as they could towards canteen, towards spawn. But Henri was just, Battison was just too quick when there was also Avery utility to stall and open it up for them. So a big round there for a big pistol for SOTRs. Very similar openings now as you have, again, a 4-1 split. First, it was north side to south. This time is south side to north. And they're just waiting here for TV to move forward. They're expecting some sort of a Bucky play, trying to close that gap. And surprisingly enough, TV are actually going for a force buy.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. They really want to throw SOTRs for a loop. And SOTRs even got a Vandal in this picture, an Outlaw too, and just social distancing from their lurk of sin as Henri as stoic as ever. There's just so many bombs being thrown their way, and oh, the Bucky's good for one. The speed could not get them away in time. 4 versus 4. Now the spawn is under fire here as SOTRs need to pick a path and pick which weapon they want to.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get 0 because the first bump shot went between 2 players, both of Oasis and Battison. But thankfully now we are resetting for SOTRs. You get this wall up and break the trip. And you get it set up now, turtle up in the site. I don't like this re-swing back from the spawn side though, from the south side. Because you already saw that pressure in from TV in the first place.
A lot of angles to watch for just 2 people though. SOTRs got a lot to play for. TV, this was the force to try and turn this game around, and Avery is worth their weight in gold, but it ends in Harper's favor. Only 1 person left after everything is said and done, and it's off of a 3K.
Yeah. It almost worked out for SOTRs because the last weapons that they had were actually very strong weapons to fight against the lower upgrades that you had from TV. I think I saw some stingers here and there. And that story would have been totally different if May didn't run outside towards that south side. I have a feeling that they were probably trying to run back towards tree to try to play a brimstone lineup for the pulse plant. And I think being too hyper-focused on the protocols of your win conditions kind of catches you off guard. So they met up with 2 players that were flanking, and TV were able to stop that bleeding. Because remember, it was a force buy on the side of TV. With this plant right now from Blue Waters, though, they weren't able to get a, or SOTR, sorry, they're able to go for a buy no matter what. There's only 1 player with full shields, and that's Oasis. For the rest, though, Harper could go to work with this Outlaw.
This is how TV catch up in the score. Starts off with this shot, and Harper misses it and also lands. And Salvos is on their last legs, if any left at all.
Sick.
And SOTRs, they know their job. They have to spread out, and TV, they're stacked up, ready to go, and Harper gets traded huge from May just with a classic. with a statement in TV's face. Almost a 4K. Sin will assist. And what a round from SOTR to respond after the force from TV.
Hey, holy crap, that's also a team that just knows the positioning of where a chamber could be. So missing a shot, force a TP, Salvo's right on there. Just unfortunate that he went a little bit too early so that you don't get the full kill onto Harper, but the damage is already there. The space is already lost, and they go for a 3-2-1 swing right into the spawn to catch so many players off target and surprise them as they're rotating back from spawn. That was very, very surprising, and that resets the economy right back in favor of SOTRs. You're trying to go for some hero play. You see this headhunter position on the top of Jenny that was set up in the beginning on the B site for Harper. As you see here for SOTRs, they're always going for the same type of default that TV has done. Wall up, try to break the util.
Ooh, the overdrive. Madison is sick of views, ready to wrap around and, I mean, put a cape on their back. They're just in a flow state right now. If only there were targets to try and kill, but at least it gets fear into the eyes of TV, hearing that Neon with overdrive run around everywhere. Also, it's just not the best weapons. I understand TV wanting to take things slow as Ennui is finding their moment. But Bucky at range, if anyone is looking out of that door, this could spell trouble. But now the relay bolts, you reveal your position, the element of mystery is gone, and SOTRs are looking for a flawless round.
And this is an important round now coming up for TV. If they have a timeout left, they should call it now. But this is going to be mind games for sure, because SOTRs this whole time have been opening their hands and conditioning B hit, B hit, B hit, wall up. Let's keep hitting it because nothing is stopping us, right? So now TV has to find a way to stop that bleeding. I think at this point now, because Harbor has a tour de force to work with, they probably have an opportunity to walk down that staircase and try to go for a pick and hopefully just pick off one of the main pieces. It could be any one of those pieces, because if it's Mizu, there's no smokes. If it's Henri, there's no opener. If it's Leo or Irene, there's no util to support the entry. So I think that is probably going to be a big responsibility given to Harper at this point to hold down a more aggressive line towards that tree. If it's not for, and if it's for that though as well, this also gives an opportunity for SOTRs to really flip it around in their favor, to go for a whole different type of hit, because, or a whole different type of strat, because again, they've conditioned it so well on this B site that they could really throw TV for a loop with off positioning and broken buys that you're going to face off against for TV because of that eco you just faced in round number 15.
And there hasn't been more than a 2 or 3 round win streak for SOTRs. So TV are trading blows as often as they can, but SOTRs, they have been ramping up. They are scaling now. Every player is at double-digit kills on this side, so this is only the beginning of the SOTR story when it comes to stage 1 and how close they're able to play to teams like TV, who made appearances at kickoff, now starting to fall away. Now hopefully with a more even buy, TV can try to stand a chance, but Rolling Thunder and Orbital Strike after that orb got grabbed.
Yeah, exactly. You saw the wall come up on that side too, because they were expecting here for SOTRs for the op to go down on that lane. But what it does for them is allows for them to pick up the orb on tree and get the orbital strike from May. But now you're starved from information. You're trying to push for that info, and the trip at least is going to help things out to reposition Harper.
They found my trap.
But it's a 1v1 against Sin that could be very important here.
At least Harper knows there's trouble afoot. Their trap has been sprung, and it's all about timing. Probably heard Sin coming here, and this is a big 1v1 to help reestablish the defense. Harper confirms that, and will be on their way to help reestablish the retake for the defense. Rolling Thunder to suppress, catching this Neon at the heel. Not able to capitalize on that kill. Harper is also making dents through the north side before SOTRs, man. May and Avery, the dynamic duo on the front lines, take care of business. No, Harper is afoot, 30 HP, avoiding the orbital strike. A lot left in the tank from SOTRs. Harper has to do it all on her own, apparently, but doesn't have time to defuse, so it does not matter. This will be SOTRs getting up to 12.
Yeah, the refight towards A main was super nice. It was gambly. You had to be on point for your fights too and land them, and May mows down a nice little 2-piece. That allows for them to even play on A site, keep that orbital strike up and not waste it, so they can use it on the pulse plant and just play delay install. Because you saw the space is already taken by pushing everybody away of the radius of the orbital strike, which then gives Avery the chance to just freely peek out in the open and set up the aftershock to continue to delay.
Right there.
There's very good stuff coming out here from SOTRs, and here's that round. You're gambling here for the walk down, not with the op, but for the fight towards tree.
For the map. Oh my god, everyone is flashed up with nowhere to go. They are cornered and they're being hunted. TV, now it's a brawl. SOTRs try to hold their own, trying to stay as locked in as they can, but TV, they just kick them in the dirt. Talk about signs of life from this team. They needed that round.
And that's why, because you were so free for SOTRs to take over tree site in the very beginning that they felt like they never needed to flash this time around on the top of the staircase to take that space, because you have the free element of surprise to move up on that staircase. So that big flash that came out from Irene was huge. It didn't muster a lot of kills for Henri with the Bucky. Imagine if they actually had the judge like this round. That was 4 free kills. But if not, it was still superb stall from that flash to allow here TV to just fight toe-to-toe in front of that space. You see how much
that
more
last
you
round. Yeah, like that last round got everyone so excited. Now SOTRs, they're ramping up. The finish line is in sight, and there's plenty of insurance if things go awry. And the one thing that could be a nuisance is the op, but if there's so many smokes, how is Harper going to get to see anything? But sometimes TV can take advantage of that chaos. You got the Armageddon that's available, but it starts with the Rolling Thunder.
Go ahead.
Now TV just trying to get some looks up to the target's a big double kill from Irene, and Oasis and Avery trade out. It's left with a 1 versus 1 when everything is said and done, and after all the Armageddons fly by. This is for all the marbles for Mizu. Avery's already half HP, but Avery has the cleaner shot and faster at that. 13-6 for the SOTRs.
Well done this time around too to close things out, but you saw in that last round how much more util had to be utilized by the side of SOTRs to move up here towards that B site. But thankfully they still had power numbers, they still had site control, and they've been so good in these pulse plant scenarios here on the attack side. It was very close in that first half here, Lemon Kiwi, but it definitely looked like on the attack side there was one team that was a little bit more prepared against maybe lack of preparation on the defensive side, because it took much later rounds here on one side for TV to try to fight back on their defense. They could have made it happen if they were able to read that a little bit earlier.
I mean, TV were just always throwing us for a loop with the Thrifty in round 4. That swung momentum in their favor. Then SOTRs got a Thrifty. Then you got Madison with a 4K Bucky. Like, expect the unexpected here at GC, but expect the SOTRs map pick coming up next. It's split, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to Valorant Game Changers. We are in the midst of a very intense series between Sen Otters and TV, and we're about to go into Game 2 to see if TV can respond after Fracture.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very nice, again, first half between these two teams of Sen Otters and TV. But until we got into the second half, unstoppable on that side there for Sen Otters. So now, yeah, we get to focus on that second map. It's going to be Split. I like that we haven't seen Split yet so far. So it gives us a chance to really see if Sen Otters reinvents the wheel a little bit too, because I think if I remember looking at the Blue Otters in the past, it was a lot of Euro. I think it's going to continue to repeat just like it did for VCL and also the VCTs, where with all these agent changes, you're going to see now, as you've mentioned here, maybe a little bit less of double duelists for some of these teams. And but as you mentioned for Sen Otters, they like to play double duelists. I wonder if we're going to see what, like some Neon and Rays. I doubt it though.
Well, that would be fun. Yeah, because they kind of played that ISO Yoru back when that was those were cool duelists to play. But Oasis has been flexing around. They have a pretty large agent pool. I just want to quickly update everyone on other scores going on, because we have many matches going on at Game Changers at the same time. FlyQuest with a 2-0 over Aura, and Catface versus Ghost Gaming. That was an interesting series that went 2-1 in Catface's favor. And we got an update that SRG, for any SRG fans, they won their first map 13-1 over Frost. So just giving you looks at Channel 4 News at Game Changers. Back to you, Vans, with the weather.
And go rain! Back to you.
Good reference. Good reference, fans.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a lot of one-sided results for all these teams so far in this stage one, but I think it's just the nature of the business when we're going into the early stage of the Swiss. And now I get to focus a little bit more, as you mentioned, this double duelist here from Sen Otters. I think we've also seen double duelists from the side of TV as well when they played like some Yoru and some Raises. But I think Raise is still going to be a very, very strong map at this one too. I think it allows for you to play maybe some double controller, Senti, some lurks if you want to switch out the Yoru to something else. I think if you want to bring out a couple of flashes, you might see the resurgence of Sky at the same time too. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think Sky on Split is probably one of her best maps outside of Bind. So if people have to switch back into like, we need to find ways to open up and support our duelist to entry in, I wouldn't be surprised to see the switch out from the Yoru onto this Sky for a lot of these players.
And Sen Otters just have such interesting agent pools, like from May, who likes to pull out the Clove, to Sin with either the Vise or the Chamber. Like, it's the double duelist. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of the meta for Split, but it's the accompanying cast around Sen Otters. I mean, Sin went deathless for the longest time on Vise and kind of ruined a lot of TV's plans on getting around Fracture, having to consider so much of Sin's util. So I like that you can still have such strong Sentinel players in a meta where it feels like Sentinels have fallen out of favor a lot.
Yeah, and especially if you've missed out on the first series as well with Wadadaa. That same up on Fracture, I think it was Australis. I think she went like three deaths only in terms of how many kills she brought to the board. So it's cool to see that you have like a lot of cool star power and superpowers from some of these players going into the first matches of the Swiss stage. So it comes to show to me that this is probably the year where a lot of teams are trying to fight for opportunities to show that they have their worth going into GC. I think also maybe a little bit more hungry for the side of North America to not only try to top it down Shopify Rebellion Gold, but also maybe be the next team moving forward. Because right now, for the past couple of years, there's been a resurgence and stronghold of the Brazilian scene going into the game changer scene. You're seeing like MIBR, you're seeing Liquid, and now also EG that just joined to pick up the ex-MIBR roster now going into GC for this year. So there's a lot of support coming on that side of for Brazil, because they have seriously good teams out there.
And I like that, you know, Shopify Rebellion, they hit gold with their gold SRG squad, and they're sticking with them too. Love to see all the org support, and of course a big welcome to the Sentinels, who should be very, very happy with how map 1 went.
That's,
and if you missed,
that's disrespectful. Actually, all of SRG players are Radiant, not gold.
Oh my god. Well, In this economy, gold is important. Okay, so anyway, 13-6 for Sentinels. I mean, that's the part to be happy about, at least. That 13-6. And I thought it was pretty close at the beginning. Like, a lot of rounds felt like they were decided on just giant death matches, and then like 2 players are left, and that's it. So I'm wondering if it's going to be even faster, because now Split's usually a faster map than Fracture.
I think that was the main thing too. When it came down to good reads from the side of TV, they definitely do have strong players that are able to keep the games and the fights very close in those scenarios. What really set them apart here for SOTRs is just the simple executions that were really never thought up or stopped by the side of TV once they took the defense. So I think if it has to come down to that, so far, at least from my experiences or our experience from watching this first map, is that SOTRs are not afraid to just re-hit even after a timeout. So if you're starting to see a little bit of that same cadence going to Split, and TV are losing grasp of it early, I think early timeouts are going to be super important. And man, we're playing Arena. That is fire.
And the big 26? Oh,
yeah,
okay. We have different thoughts.
Oh, hold on. How do we say in 2026? The big 26? That's so tough. That's so tough.
That's so tough. That's so hard. Yeah, I like that. Hey, as a Reyna enjoyer, it's nice to throw those zeros on the other side of the wall. You don't have to think too hard. You just get a blind on the other side of the wall. It's the follow through, and I think that's going to set up Battison beautifully.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Battison even using Leers in different positions behind a neon wall could really help them in terms of flood retakes, especially when they're starting off on a defensive side. But definitely some things that they have to consider now for TV, as this is probably super new for them to deal with.
Yeah, because look how jacked that otter looks. And once the cat gets the mask off from the play button, like, this is going to be a new team. But TV, this is, I mean, they lost their map pick of Fracture. Now this is the Sen Otters playground. So them pulling out the Reyna, this was a special cook from them.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see how it pans out. They're already starting off on this B side, though, which is not the best of starts, because they were looking for a trap play. Look at the setup here from May with the paranoia. So what you have to do this time around here is to play soft. Hold the Heaven side on the defense here for Avery, and just try to hold back towards that spawn so people can rotate here from middle.
Now this Viper wall is what's kind of stopping all of TV from encountering Avery. We're now breaking out and going back towards mid, wrapping around through vents. This is quite the macro runaround, but Irene finds first blood. Senators are barely keeping up with where this pain train was going, and everyone is getting hit by this pain train. Everyone's catching hands, but oh, I like this duo ship here on the Senators B defense. They've completely nullified TV at this point. Mizu and Harper, after try to hit this back, but Oasis hits them harder, making it 3K with the Sheriff.
Yeah, great start for Oasis, making that Reyna viable, actually, so far in that pistol round. But quite interestingly, a bit of a slight overcook for TV in the first place, because as they scale up with a lot of noise towards that A side, they kind of just didn't continue to explore to see if there was actually a stack. I think you have to pay attention to what's really happening around that map. Seeing that there's only Avery on that side, what should be thrown out, right? Maybe more util should support for the stall, but if you don't really see or read anything, you have to have maybe some sort of an idea that it could be weak side on that spot. But it just went for the death ball into the A site. Now a death ball into A again, where they just get stopped by the outlaw Battison.
Battison at it again. A Bucky, an outlaw, Avery, oh, playing around cover. It's a sturdy cardboard box, and Sin will avenge and do even more. TV ruined on that approach, and already we're facing a weapon differential, if you will. Harper, the classic right click, you love to see it, and a nice little upgrade, in fact, too.
I don't like this that we're giving them Harper a judge. The spike is a little bit out in the open, but there are so many close corridors that if you're going to give this gap, okay, thankfully, it's Battison still watching that line with the outlaw. But again, going back from finishing the point on that pistol round, a little bit of the overcook that they ran right into the stack here of Senators, and then this time, they didn't expect here this forward line of the Neon with the outlaws. So 2 big rounds where it seems as though we're one step ahead in terms of how to stop the aggression and fast tempo of TV, that you might have to start slowing things around, and you're already seeing it. The default wall comes out on that side. You have the Ashtar watching towards that B main push, and then you're just 1-3-1ing on that control of middle.
2 levels of blinds too from SOTRs when it comes to the B site, so it's like I feel like TV should take note of how quickly they got ramp control, and Madison, take note of that. Another double kill with the Outlaw. Imagine if this thing had more bullets. Madison would have even more to say. So
no, please not, because then I'd have to complain about the Outlaw, the Judge, the Bucky, the Shorty, the Neon Slide.
The list is long of your complaints, apparently.
Exactly. I keep it compartmentalized, but if the Outlaw had more bullets, man, I'd be crashing out.
Oasis just but the Guardian is doing a lot of work. TV had bot up, and they're quite lost in the sauce, if I had to put it delicately.
And it didn't even matter if they had full shields. Those are double headshots with Madison. That was insane. Overkills and the investment that you have from not having plans, knowing you're playing against an Outlaw, that's gotta hurt.
Okay, if you're cowering in sewers. Oh, Irene made that expensive at least, but man, SOTRs went from, okay, this is a close map 1 to absolutely running the show. Like, that was their bonus, and they ruined that.
Yeah, at least for now, right? The damage is done, but this is still a bonus round for SOTRs, so they could just upgrade into free weapons with what was left behind. So you're not losing too much money going to this round. You can even keep the Outlaw going into this very round. Look at even the buy that you have from TV. They're forcing themselves around shares. At this point, you don't even need to buy small shields because you're still playing against the Outlaw. So I mean, you're still keeping your economy right. So at the end of the day, it's still a good buy for the side of TV. But it's definitely a nuisance right now to fight against Madison's Outlaw.
May will call for attention and get into a better position for a Paranoia as the dog was taken out. So this will get Oasis' attention. Again, 2 ways to blind TV on the entry, who with sheriffs, you want to have at least the element of mystery. Maybe even a first pick, depending on if Irene can make some magic happen. But it's Madison. They have a 4K with the Outlaw over 2 rounds. 1 bullet missed. Another one in the chamber. Irene. Oh, be careful on the swing. Madison confirms that. So not a lot of good options for TV left now.
I could have given the opportunity for Avery to move forward to pick up the orb, because that kill allowed Madison to get the overdrive already, but looks like you just want to keep the protocols right. Prowler late round. Nice stall, though, with the Paranoia, as they know now that they hit the TV's going towards B.
Wow, what a timing on the nade. TV flooding on in. The overdrive peppers them down. Oh, SOTRs are untouchable right now.
Yeah. Right now, you're just free-flowing, too. It's almost feeling like the overdrive could have been saved into a later round. But when you're just hitting every single one of these shots, and you, at this point, you probably just get another overdrive in another 2 rounds, why the hell not, you know? So even upgrading into an op this round, too. Because you know that you're probably going to be maxing out. You lose this round here, you could still buy an Outlaw, which, if the trades are still correct, you could still bring a lot of value for SOTRs. So TV, they have to really try to break this.
Oh, but the op has less bullets. Now let's get the op more bullets so like Madison can hit that shot again. They almost looked better with the Outlaw. All right, Mr. Riot. Okay. Does TV want to re-hit after seeing that op? I would say no.
And it's well thought out, at least. They had the flash. They identify where the op is. They pushed them back. They even forced out the Paranoia from May. What they do now is, with the smoke that was thrown to stall, you leverage that to pick up the ult orb from Leia, so now they can go for mid-rounding. Make control, figure out right now, once you take control of Mail, you can start ulting to see where most of the cabbages go. That'll give you an inkling to know where the stack would be, and you could start focusing on the weak side. So opening up here to give that space for Ennui to take is probably an important pass to take right now.
All right, the delayed re-hit here from SOTR, hoping to just go in with Seekers maybe, but can that be enough of a cushion against the op? Oh, waiting for the right moment. Madison now in a lot of trouble, about to drop this op, but hey, backup shorty's always nice. Up in a backup teammate, crossfire. The op still rings true, and TV have hit a brick wall. Madison will gift you a kill, but that is all TV are going to get. Make that 5-0.
I was just about to say that you kind of wish the overdrive was available for that round, because Madison was looking like they were going to get run down. That Nova Pulse was perfect to stun them, but then you had the turtle smoke that was thrown by May that didn't really give a chance here for TV to come through after the Seeker's flash, because you already used the first flash at the beginning. I don't think you had the third one coming up right away, so there wasn't that third flash to flash through the smoke of the Omen. So all of that works out in perfection here for Madison and May to play the bait and switch and lock things down. And this is exactly what I was talking about before. If things are slowing down, or you don't have an early grasp of the game for this side of TV, you got to call out the early timeout. So I'm glad they're at least doing it now here for the attack side.
And this has been a lot of B hits. So I'm wondering maybe if TV we could see a switch up towards A, but there's not going to be a sexy sight to hit when you know there's an op in Madison's hands, who is currently 10-2, and this timeout would tell now you got me saying it, but the Senators to expect something different. So I could expect Madison to maybe watch over in screens at A, just when you're expecting TV to try something different if they failed at B so many times.
And I think it could be simple things too, not just a flash to push them off the line, but you're playing an Astra. You could play a smoke recall to triple swing out of it, so that worst comes to worst, you lose one, but at least you get rid of the op and a star player in Madison that's been heating up in the second map. But it looks like they just want to avoid it in the first place. They want to really take some real mid control here.
That same kind of garage peek from Senators. Now an aggressive mid take, where usually that's Oasis that's watching that cross. And they pivoted to watching over A this instead. So TV got vents. What's she gonna do with it once that smoke dissipates? Now Mail, this defense could be cutting off reinforcements. Henri is alone. The lone wolf has no bark to it. The spam through the smoke. TV are a bit stuck on what to do with no duelists to bail them out. It's not like they have the weapons to really cough back against Senators, so
yeah,
plan A is cooked.
Well, that was the thing again. Both flashes were used to take info in middle in the first place, and second flash for vents control. Then they actually had two players inside the smoke and one on top. If they actually had that flash and triple swing into the thunder footing of May rotating on middle, that would have been a different story. But you saw how much value here the Phantoms fight inside that smoke. They trade. They don't even need to trade. They just take two down.
Just any close range win here for TV would mean a very much needed upgrade. As Oasis is a big risk, and catching one off guard to try and isolate an angle. TV will get one down, but will not be able to recover that weapon. Ramp control for Senators, and just no time to tussle. 6-0 now for Senators. This is even more dominant than the last map.
Yeah, and you're starting to see that, or you've already continuing to see the confidence not only ooze through Madison, but everybody else. Oasis not even going for the recall, not even going for a heal with the orb that was left on the ground. Just stay stoic, and as a statue in the front of every single one of these fights, you have May just thunderfooting down and getting spray kills with trades, if needed be, from Sin, and they're just not missing any of these shots in the reads. So it's tough right now to be TV on the attack side.
With how much TV have prioritized mid, I like that early Viper's kid. Madison, are you gonna feed the beast? And even Madison will take a step back and go for the better opportunity, not just the first one given. TV have Henri sent to the skies and deliver a first pick and not even traded. The follow-up from TV was strong, but the high ground and everything else is better from Senators. Only two left from TV. At least they got the plant.
Yeah, but they've already lost all map control.
Enemy remaining.
Yeah, you're right. 7-0. Now for Senators, as clean as ever.
Yeah.
And despite Henri, you know, kicking the door down, demanding rent, like Senators just traded everyone else behind Henri, which is a trend we've noticed in the last round too.
Yeah, and you have to give it for Avery that allows Madison to get these heroic kills, because Avery breaks the dog that was being thrown, and as they're executing onto the A site, they throw the C's on the ground to only allow the cross from Henri on the attack with the showstopper. But as you've delayed enough and you forced up the showstopper, you already saw through the X-ray that Battison already slid out to home plate, outside the safety of the screens, and then still gets another pick from Heaven. And all while that happens, you have the backstab from Oasis on ramp, because everybody's just trying to get on me.
Oh, Battison. No. The Great Escape? What is this? Said Otters bail out their Neon, and TV come out with nothing. Oh my god.
Good thing the flash too prevented from Battison to get any value, so I'm liking that at least.
Slow death from Henri. Get the bagpipes going. TV. Now they have a 2-2 split, and seeing if they can converge into A. Big opportunity for Irene. Oh, you hear the step away. Oh, just, I swear, TV are just unlucky. Like, there's moments they should be punishing Sen Otters, and then it's just the Great Escape. But wait, TV will regroup at least, and you still have that high ground position from Irene, but kind of needing them maybe towards the side if you get a plan, if you feel like pitting up, but see what the Singers can do up close. Sin is gonna re-hit it. Oh, they're gonna cross each other. TV continue to be unlucky. I can't believe Irene missed Sin walking by like that. It's cooked. It's not cooked. Mizu is cooking. And Sin closes it out in the end. 8-0.
I was expecting the cast to be like, it's cooked. It's not cooked. It's cooked.
It's cooked.
It's not
We're
cooked.
so back. It's cooked. We're so back. Oh no.
It was a nice try though, but as you said, very unlucky. I was expecting maybe even Irene at that point to keep control of the Heaven side, and if you actually do get that pick, because you know the rotate's gonna happen no matter what, 100% on the top of the ropes, you can surprise your opponent, and then you could just pit Heaven, take full control of that site while the rest of the team fights into the bottom of the site. And I think that would have given you some good delays to allow for TV to set up at the post time, despite being solo on the top of Heaven. But yeah, just a lot of unluckiness right now for TV on the attack.
Oh, okay. May tries to go for a play. Solo doesn't work out, and now the ants are creeping in. And Oasis just has to watch it. Love that double swing. Big risk. Pays off for TV. Okay, you just got a random Odin showing up. Nightfall and Zeus from Avery with that, but don't really have the okay. Sin doesn't matter. They are just a one-unit army, apparently. 1v1 to decide the round?
No.
What is this? How did Sen Otters just win a round? What was that, 3v5? 2v5?
Yeah, 2v5. It was the Nightfall that was amazing there for Avery. That first pick, as you said, the Odin shows up from nowhere. Nightfall pings 3 players, so the one, I think it was Sin, that was running towards New Box could just run because nobody's going to hear her footsteps, and she just isolates so many fights. That was so well retaken, by the side of the Senators. I gotta say though, the first opener was super sick though by TV. That's what I was saying earlier on. They hit not only behind a one-way smoke that was thrown here by May, but they played the recall smoke from Mizu so they could triple swing, and it actually caught the first player off guard. And then you saw how easy it was them to overtake the B site because 3 different players were caught off guard in different positions. Just unfortunately, an Odin and a Nightfall just foiled all your plans on the post plant.
I applaud TV for being mentally resilient through this, because I would be so mentally clocked out from that. It's a team that has been through thick and thin, though, and an 0-9 deficit. It's no big deal. Nonchalant TV, run it down through mid, off the boom bot into vents. It's gonna alert. Sin is there. You got a double stack into Mail. Here's the flash in. Oh, right into the op. Chomped down by Battison, who remains as stoic as ever. Sin is even going to step up as confident as ever. The Viper, the Sentinel, whatever you make her play, she will deliver. And TV.
And sorry, Lemon Q, I think I was gonna say that's the thing that's difficult, because if you try to go with the Steel Garden onto B and you're trying to take Heaven, even if you lose the op, they probably have shorties in that corner, and that's not gonna get too much value. But at least Irene lurked into the A site, opens it up, and maybe give themselves a fighting chance because they still have this pit.
I'm glad that, yeah, like Irene has been trying to get that ramp control, wraps all the way around, and
Down A.
no safe path. Not with Battison on duty. This is a whole different Battison that we have ever seen before. We gotta buy her an ob every single time. I will chip in.
And I was gonna say, like, even Battison is probably enjoying herself because she gets to play this against like her old team.
The former team.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. The drama.
Maybe not real drama. I don't think so. I think
I was just stirring the pot for content. Don't worry.
I think if the opportunity is there to play under a Sentinels banner, I think you're going to take it any day, right? Despite, you know, having ups and downs, that you can have the best fans or the worst fans depending on the day. But definitely right now, everybody's rejoicing as a Sentinels fan.
The double stack. Battison with an op in mid. TV gonna try and see if they get that punish on May that got him that first blood. I mean, that was one of their strongest rounds, but my memory is quite short. This round might be short with how Henri is working the map. Now those were the two nice easy kills. Then Otter on their way. Battison wants to watch over the site. You're getting harassed from mid. Irene takes care of business. What an amazing round from TV. You're gonna need 9 more of those. Wait a minute, showstopper from on just you know, the cherry on top on that one.
Imagine if that showstopper was not there, I think there was a chance that Avery just mows down 2 players too and clutches a 1v5. But great, Irene found a timing, and I think it was a good round where TV really punished the overconfidence coming out here from the Senators. Because as May's throwing out that one way once again on B main, Oasis should have stayed tucked in because they never showed that hand before. But they kind of just played a little bit more out than the tucked in corner, and they were easily cleared. And then 2 players get caught off guard. Another one of those scenarios. And finally now, there's no shenanigans because Avery didn't have a nightfall. They potentially could have it this round though for the last round of regulation.
All right, this is what the definition of insanity, but it was Henri that was insane last time. Oh, so blind right as they walked in. I can't believe they lived in. No, everyone's scattering away. Battison injured. Got the finger guns out. TV stacked up, ready to grease. And oh, the op still confirms a kill. 11 HP will escape with their lives, and TV, all they can do is watch that happen.
Battison just playing with the food. That's just all good tech to just bait out the positioning of TV. Because I'll hold that thought. Oasis is about to play a little bit of an angle here.
Hold it, Oasis. Oh, tried to just do too much. TV, if they can just keep punishing Sin Otters, they'll make this half less painful.
Beautiful.
Finally, someone shot back at Battison. Nice shot from Harper. The cutoff from Avery. The nightfall rains down on TV's parade. And Harper with a 4K helps TV get out of this half 10-2.
What a big round by Harper too. So as you've mentioned, somebody had to shoot back against Battison. So first off, the overdrive just to bait a couple of shots, and you know they're going to be posted on the high-low because you would expect the Neon to slide out and overheat and then try to go for the overdrive kills. But instead, she goes back, pulls out the op, gets the first free kill into Leia. That said though, everything after that was Harper playing super calm and baiting out the positioning of players with their own util, which allowed for them to get that 4K within a round. Beautiful. It took 10 rounds for finally TV to salvage a couple here, but they might have a chance now that they have the Harper on Vise here to play against the Neon. I'm not going to hold my breath, but...
Oh, no, hold it. And
why, you
don't
really
let
want
go.
me to leave?
No, I'm coping here. You're right.
Wow.
TV have won back-to-back rounds. There's momentum here. There's a flash out. There's a double swing. And there's blood on the floor, and Senados come out still intact, but Irene dominates mid, so this is a round of all time. 3 versus 2 now for the defense.
One enemy remaining.
Ball still up, isolated, super nice.
And Avery just kind of barely gets a peek on over top of the wall at 28 HP. Harper, you can just sneeze in that direction. There we go. TV with the pistol. What did I say, Vance? Hold on.
Nice. I mean, Irene played superbly on middle too for that anchoring with the bandits. So they were basically the 2 players, at least in my eyes, that were able to turn things around here for TV And when Irene saw the rest of her teammates falling down a little bit here, she was still pretty good on finding timings that were good enough if her teammates could actually stall for another split second for these site hits. Now that she gets to play the defensive side, they'll find their own timing too and hit wherever they want. So this Viper could be dangerous now on defense.
Madison as a Bucky. You remember what happened last time? Boom. Headshot.
Yeah.
Well, not a headshot, but body shot, and one that kills. And SOTR will make sure that Bucky doesn't cause a whole crime scene over there. And adjustment. Nice. Oasis staying calm. Feeling back up too, and SOTRs have a lot of ideas going on and players all over the map, but leaning towards A. Oh, this pulls them to that side of the map though, towards B.
It'll be good enough too. Even if Oasis loses their life, that's good information for the rest of the team to just easily scale towards A. And even if they bait this wall, this is a free kill now. You might see Knives out. They hear the information. Oh, dude! Thankfully, everybody's still walking. They're aware of that lurk from Oasis.
Spike planted.
That's a walking nightmare over there. Oasis has to know. Cleared all the way through B. They're coming from mid. Only one place they could be, and it's vents.
Oh,
and you had the light up, Oasis. Oh, disastrous. And now SOTRs just have to sit back, kick back, go on vacation, let the spike tick down. Haunt out. Harper expecting that swing at any moment, finds the timing to get ahead of it. And 11-3 now for SOTRs, responding back after that pistol from TV.
That was so funny. I know we don't have replays, but I don't know if Leia was pre-firing a shot for somebody else swinging across or just spam shooting the death. And because of that, it allowed the backstab from Oasis to get the headshot and the player advantage for SOTRs on that post plant. So an early, well, I was going to say an early timeout. Is it that early at this point? At least early in the second half. And you're going to have to do whatever you can at this point here because of economy's low. You're not really close to any ults as well. So for TV, after this timeout, is to probably try to figure out how they can maybe work on collapsing on middle, I'd like to say, because Harper's doing an excellent job on defending the A site with their utility and stalling well enough. And if they have to play soft side, they play soft side. They have to get some good map control right now for TV because you could definitely see that if you're giving a lot of space and dual opportunities for SOTRs, they're taking over quite easily.
I think Irene has done a fantastic job holding mid as well. They have like a multi-kill on the pistol. So Irene and Harper defensively are doing their jobs. It's just, how do you stop the absolute death ball? It's called a death ball for a reason. Like SOTRs have Battison hopscotching towards vents with a Bucky. There's not really much you could do to stop people like that. TV have done well in the trading department, minimizing the numbers as best as they can. But the SOTRs teamwork, it's something hard to try and disjoint.
I wonder if also, like, maybe one of the good things that they could do is save one of the Razor Vines for middle to help out for the aggressive Neon take. If you have Molly and Razor Vine and then just start spamming through that, I think you could have a good, easy hold on middle here on the defense. Because the open's still the same once again for SOTRs.
A whole lot of barking on the other side of the smoke, and well, there's still bullets there. Nonri will be the first that we will miss, and SOTRs just that much closer to a series ender, encroaching on match point. TV, they just kind of move around the map as a stack, and you have to with the buys that they have. SOTRs, they wait to see what else TV are going to throw at them that they can try to knock out of the park. And now SOTRs, they're just scaling up with confidence and speed to follow through with Sin towards the A site. They'll even use the neon walls to break things up. And despite TV having a Vise Flash there, it's not a situation they can fight in quite yet. Now the fight through high ground. Oasis goes 1 for 1. But TV will be in a good position to threaten the high ground once the smoke dissipates. If Sin will even let them live. Sin, they have families. Let them play the game. Mizu's going to join Leia's side, though. 2v1, surely. While Sin's just going to fade away. This is precious seconds that TV are taking to address every threat on all sides. Keep this as close as you can, but time is a factor. The spike will be ticking down quickly, and not really much time for this to happen. Apparently not many bullets either. So Sen Otters gets a 12. Match point.
Unlucky that it's a stinger too to get that free backstab on the Neon. Nonetheless, though, I think slowly but surely, and maybe again a little bit too late, they've realized now that, you know, Sen Otters are not only playing aggro, but also are not playing any big senties. And while they're moving around the map with a lot of control on middle, there's always a little bit of a gap and an opportunity to even go for backstab flanks. I mean, if you look at this position right now, yeah, the Omen watching the B side, but they never really have like inserts and lurks on the attack. So TV maybe could start finding these opportunities to flank. It's tough to do though when the rest of the players are kind of just dying too on the anchor flanks to get value off flanks, especially like that too.
What did Sin sense? There was something in the water, something in the air. You just have like you're in a 1v3 situation, and Sin gets out. The great escape yet again from Sen Otters. Now you teleport past the Vise wall, and Harper can't get a punish. Oh, there's just moments that TV can shine, but there's one team that shines brighter, and it's Sen Otters. Henri, not much better of an option, but just a stinger and Oasis about to catch them at the heel. Henri with the big win, but Battison with the finisher. 13-3 from Sen Otters in their first match of Game Changers.
And a great start for Sen Otters as well, representing the Sentinels banner, representing the Blue Otters banner as well, and a convincing victory for this team. Both on, definitely more convincing on that second map of Split, but overall, I think this is a good look at Sen Otters moving forward in stage 1. Again, they were the team that made it second place, just losing to FlyQuest 1-3 at kickoff. And now they have an opportunity here to be one of the other powerhouses in terms of orgs to do quite well against the other teams outside of SRG.
And Sen Otters still won Fracture 13-6, despite, I don't even remember the last time they've even played the map, because it's so far ago that this was in the map pool. So still impressive for them to double the score with probably not as much practice on it, at least compared to TV, which still a considerably good effort from them on the other side. But something about Sen Otters, there's something awoke in them. They were just not missing any shots, handling any kind of pressure going their way so well. And Sen Otters will be in the 1-0 stage of the Swiss stage. And we're going to throw you to a quick break, and we'll hopefully get an interview set up with them very soon. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to Valorant Game Changers presented by Verizon. So sad it's over, but we have to go over the numbers because, yeah, they look cool in the game, but we also have to break down the stats to sound smart. And we have to get ready for our interview very soon. But, Vans, that was a fun series from SOTRs.
Definitely a fun series. If you want to look at numbers on the side, it was all SOTRs at the very beginning. Even looking at the first map of Sin was dropping numbers without any deaths. This time was a lot of aggression coming out from Oasis, Badison, Sin, everybody on split. I felt like no duels were really lost on their side. I mean, if you're seeing your star duelist drop 21 and most of it being on defense, it was definitely hard to deal against.
Yeah, this Neon was unstoppable, and then the only time they slowed down was when they had an op or an outlaw, which got even more kills with the outlaw, because guess what, more bullets in it. Like, Badison held any angle and just never got off of it unless there was enough util thrown their way. And that was what was so interesting, is TV committed numbers, committed util, and SOTRs, they just pulled off these escapes that you just wouldn't believe. So very entertaining series despite it being a 13-3.
Yeah, definitely. And now we actually have a chance right now to speak with a Badison of SOTRs. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Badison, congratulations on such a strong victory for SOTRs. By the way, I was calling you guys the SOTRs. Was that a cool pun or not?
Yes, that is very awesome. That is a good pun.
You don't have to go along with his jokes. Don't worry about him. But do tell us what it's like to be. Tell us what it's like to be on Sentinels, because that's got to come with a lot of pressure to represent a big brand like that.
It's a lot, honestly, but I mean, it's fun. It's an amazing opportunity, and I have all my teammates with me, so I'm not facing it alone. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And actually, speaking of not facing alone, but you had to face off against your old team of TV. So what was that like? Was it like just a little bit of a grudge match to prove something wrong, or was it just like, oh, this is for fun?
No, I love them. I've known Mizubabe for 5 years. Like, that is literally my day one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, I love that team so much. And yeah, I was honestly really excited for this. I love everyone on that team. So.
And what kind of, yeah, that sounds like a really fun team to be part of. And yeah, we just like stirring the pot for content, so don't worry about us. But tell us about kind of what went down between kickoff to stage 1. Like, were you guys kind of taking a break? Did you really ramp up and put on the grind? What did you personally work on?
I mean, a big focus going from kickoff to stage 1 was just talking to the team and talking to each other and being like, how badly do we want this? Like, do we all have the same goals in mind? And once we had that, we just practiced. We talked to each other. Our coach is amazing. And we just worked on ourselves. We got all our problems sorted out. And yeah, we're just doing good.
Speaking of a coach and going to strategies, I want to talk about that second map, because as we have an opportunity to speak to you all in terms of the changes of the meta whatnot, I was not expecting to see Oasis on Arena on split, or a return of Reyna in Big 2026. Yeah. So talk me through, was this just like a vibe thing of like, I'm feeling to play Arena right now, or is there actually like a strong mental preparation and strat book to play this map?
Okay, I'll give you the rundown, because we wanted to play ISO. But the problem with ISO is we need flashes, and so we're like, okay, let's get Avery to play ISO. Not ISO, it's Sky. But Avery sucks at Sky, so that's not happening. And so then we were like, fine, we'll get an agent with flashes, and that agent was Reyna. And so that's what we decided on.
Hey, it still works out, because Avery was popping off as a Fade and an Odin, by the way. So
I know.
He was still pretty good.
Yeah, I love Reyna. I think you know, very simple and you know, very simple and easy to execute, and it was so awesome watching how that all break down over it be on the B side of things. But just before we close out the interview, you're part of Sentinels now. That comes with the fan base through the good and the bad. Do you have a message for the Sentinels fans that are watching, that want to support the GC team, and what you guys got in store for the stage?
I mean, I love the fans. I love Sun City. And just keep supporting us, and we won't let you down.
There we go. Badison said it. And absolute cinema when you played today. Thank you for the interview. And Badison and SOTRs look amazing, Vans. I mean, that 2-0 was convincing.
Yeah, if anything, they've continued to build more fans and citizens for Sen City right now, as you have the Sen Otters taking care of business for the GC stage. And again, I think it's also very promising too, seeing one more time a team that made it from second place to kick off to have a strong showing like that right now. And then to see where this is going to pan out. I want to see the rematch of Sen Otters versus Wadadaa going to the Swiss stage. How are they going to play against SRG, who has yet to play against them here in 2026 for the stage number 1? So there's still some heavy opponents coming up right now for this team, and I'm looking forward to see how this is going to pan out.
And if you guys are SRG fans, don't you worry. They also swept in their series. The Swim Trek team also won their series. FlyQuest, the Puppy Thieves, the Catface, the Wadadaa. Ton of good wins, but this is just the beginning of Game Changers Swiss stage, y'all. You'll want to tune in next week on Thursday for the continuation for the next round and see all the 1-0s face the 1-0s and the 0-1s face the 0-1s. And this was Vans. I'm Lemon Kiwi. We had Radiant and Rye behind the scenes. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week.